Hello and welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Dylan Optics Sunglasses, the official eyewear of the Smoking Tire Podcast. If you go to thesmokingtire.com and click on the Dylan banner under the Partners tab, I will send you a free Smoking Tire t-shirt if you grab a pair of these sunglasses. I have been wearing them for like 8 years. I will never wear another pair of sunglasses. They are just simply fantastic. They have aviator styles, they have more wraparound styles, they even have ladies styles, and they do prescription. Dylan Optics are made in Scottsdale, Arizona, using parts sourced from Italy and Japan. Go to thesmokingtire.com, click on the Partners tab, and then the Dylan banner, and I'll send you a free t-shirt if you grab a pair of the official eyewear of the Smoking Tire Dylan Optics sunglasses. We're also brought to you by Beeline Coffee. Drank 6 cups of it this morning. The Roasted Tire 3.0 is out now, but there's also at least 5 more roasts at any given time for sale at Beeline. Use code TST for 15% off your entire order, big or small, whether it's 1 pound, 10 pounds, or an annual subscription. Beeline's got your coffee, man. It is delicious stuff. I drink it every day. I give it out to folks. I just love it. All right, on this episode, we've got Brian Makse, automotive journalist, and Ezekiel Wheeler, auto events organizer, California sort of community organizer, if you will. Zeke Wheeler, he's coming in to talk about this crazy new California law about noise violations and mandatory fines, going from a fix-it ticket to just a mess of a must-pay ticket. It could cause a real problem for you. It's an important issue. We spent almost the entire show talking about it. Brian Makse and Zeke Wheeler on the Smoking Tire Podcast.
Hi, Smoking Tire Podcast. Hello, everybody. I need a sip of this water. This water is legit. Our refrigerator is really cranking. There's ice in this water. Hell yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah, replacement fridge with dying Spike Ferriston flowers on it. I think we need to get rid of those. They dead again.
Oh, yeah. They're dead now.
Wait, did Spike bring those?
Yeah, it's a long story.
I feel like a dick. They brought it like
no, they were trunk flowers. He shared Spike Ferriston, Zeke Wheeler, what's happening, and Brian Makse, what's happening.
What's up?
Spike was here, and he shares a car with a couple of people. It's a GT2 RS, if you can believe. They just passed it. They passed it around like the village hoe.
Okay.
And his village homemate Moise left a trunk full of groceries and a bouquet of flowers in it.
That's
and
so
Spike
sweet.
brought them as a gift. They were sort of dead because from being in the trunk. We revived them for like 36 hours, and then they died again.
Is that some secret society, club society things? Like if you reach a certain car caliber, you get to leave flowers for the next guy?
It could be. It's the secret Santa of GT2 RS ownership.
GT2 RS
yes.
owners, yeah.
Yeah, no, they call it Plan Z. Where they share the cars.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
that's legit.
With the three guys, they buy cars together and pass them around. It's actually seems kind of fun.
It sounds smart if you know how to work the money.
Yeah, and also I think all 3 of them, 2 out of 3 of them take particularly good care of the cars, and the third one has more money.
Fine, we'll wash it.
The third one is the one who left the groceries in it. What's happening, boys? Welcome.
Nice, man.
Zeke was thrown on last minute because of this legal issue we're having.
It's a crisis in California.
Trust me, we should talk about some things before I go off on a rant. So
no, I can't wait to hear your rant. Frankly, I'm very excited.
It's insane.
Brian's passing through. When you come to town, it's funny because I see your Instagram and you line up like 6 exotic cars in a row and just smash for like a week.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you fuck off back to Canada.
Yeah, that's right.
How great is that?
It is awesome. It is totally awesome.
You're here to take advantage of our roads and our cars and our women, and then out.
That's right.
Did I say women? I just meant roads and cars.
And weather.
Yeah.
Did you drive anything in Malibu?
No.
Zeke is one of the Malibu coffee crew, and Malibu is fucked up now.
It's pretty nasty.
It's so fucked up.
It's
I haven't seen it.
I took a drive through like up Encinal and the Snake on Saturday.
It's
Friday.
almost unrecognizable.
No, what day is it? Today's Thursday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On Tuesday, and right after the mudslide. And they were like scraping the mud off the road. It was a disaster up there. Like just things just gone and roads are washed out. It's a mess. It's like 700 families displaced.
It's literally
No kidding.
unrecognizable.
Yeah, and
That
I was
whole
talking to
area.
Bill, our sandwich czar at Malibu Kitchen, and he said he's talked to a lot of people, and a lot of these folks are waiting up to 2 years to get permit approvals just to rebuild their own houses.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are just not coming back.
Yeah.
Like they're gone, they're not coming back, and then I don't know, who knows what happens.
I think we're going to see an issue where
Wow.
we're going to see zip codes disappearing in Malibu from
Yeah.
guys just soaking up and willing to wait it out and have the resources to do it.
yeah.
And it's going to become even more exclusive.
Yeah. People will start
Geez.
combining
Sucks.
properties and it'll be
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
fiefdoms up there.
That is obnoxious.
It's I don't know, and it seems like no one's gonna be able to build shit for a long time because
Yeah.
the permits are just so backed
You
up.
think? I mean,
A government shutdown is good for this.
Well, that's probably
totally.
that's
Yeah.
probably why it's delayed. I mean, but you
Good
think
luck,
there'd
Newsom.
also be a faster process in an event of emergency, but geez.
There is like FEMA and stuff going on up there at the like the library behind the shopping center. There's a bunch of like disaster relief trucks and stuff like that. But I mean,
Yeah, but Mr. Trump wants to remove all that. So
dude, if your house burns down, even if you have insurance, I've heard
Yeah.
of partial payouts and like
yeah.
not really.
Well, they
making
extended the
people whole.
deadline from what I heard.
Did they?
That you can still apply for aid up until the end of January.
Oh, okay.
So people still have a chance to try to get something for immediate expenditures, whether
Yeah.
it's housing, residency, long-term residency, food, things like that. So
And even if it's full reimbursement, like you said, the amount of time it'll take. If they said go tomorrow to
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
rebuilding your house exactly according to the plans from before, they have all the paperwork done and the drawings all done.
yeah.
How much long does it take to build a house? Like a year?
3 years. 2 3
3 years?
Well,
Yeah,
those
right.
houses.
Yes, no,
those
you're right.
houses.
Those
Yeah.
houses is 3 years.
Yeah, we're
No.
not doing tiny houses or prefabs up there. That's for freaking sure.
And houses that are on the side of mountains,
beaches,
like
cliffs,
yeah.
you name it.
And now we have newer regulations.
Well, I guess
who
the
knows?
beaches are even more public now. I mean, I guess that's a plus
Did
side.
a lot of
that was
beach-
always an issue.
Yeah. Did that crazy house burn down?
I have no idea.
That would have been the one guy who was fighting everyone on the public beach.
Oh, that guy was a dick.
Is that Northern California?
That's NorCal,
It's
though.
Northern California.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
is
Silicon
that,
Valley guy.
that would have been the
Pick
one
a spot
bit
in
of karma.
California where there's a beach and a rich guy that they're normally fighting the public to keep the beach. So
Yeah. But it's brutal up there.
yeah.
And you learn that the NSX has very wide door sills, and when you get them muddy from driving through mudslides, it gets all over your pants.
Lovely.
Appreciate the narrow door sills of the McLarens. Anyway,
Anyway,
on a more positive note,
how was
what's up?
Malibu?
Yeah.
Where'd you go? Where did you go
there?
drive? Angels Forest.
I'm an OC guy when I'm here. So.
OC.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yes.
you love police officers.
Yeah.
pulling-
No,
Right.
you know what?
Lord.
I met a great park ranger the other day, and
Was he working or she?
He was legit working.
Really?
He wanted what was he driving that day? I think he was driving the Hellcat, and he wanted to see that, and that was it. And then he was one of the guys that asked me about this crazy law you guys have here.
Cops love Hellcats.
Yeah.
Like, Hellcat
Yeah,
is
the
never
Hell-
going to get
because
pulled
they
over
wish it
for
was their
this law.
They wish it was their new cruiser, like the
Yeah.
old Fox body.
Yeah.
They want that to be their new cruiser.
Yeah, I would have never gotten a ticket in the Fox body, not
Yeah.
from police officers.
No way.
Fuck
No.
no. Kidding
No.
me?
yeah.
No, everybody loves the Hellcat, right?
They do.
Yeah.
I let a police officer drive the old SRT in like 2009.
Yeah.
He pulled me over and I actually let him. It was a pre-production car, like they weren't out yet.
Right.
And he took me up on it and drove it.
Nice.
Got me out of a ticket.
Hey, man.
Cops love them shits. They do. They love Mopar.
Americana.
All right.
Americana.
So
Cool.
should we? You want to go depressing?
Yeah. No.
Zeke?
It's not depressing. If anything, what I'm trying to do is put the right facts out there. I've been talking with the SEMA Action Network, or SEMA-SAN. It's a government affairs network over at SEMA for all the aftermarket, I guess you could call it lobbyists, but activists that actually go out into local governments throughout the country and help write laws that could restrict modification, aftermarket companies, things like that, or help write laws that encourage it, collector car days, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, what we're talking about today is Assembly Bill 1824. Sounds boring. There's going to be a lot of numbers, but I'm going to break it down. And it was snuck in 3 days before the governor signed it into actual law back in June of 2018 under the Rainy Day Bill. So everybody in California was concerned about the Rainy Day Bill. Hey, let's put some funds away for this, and the military, the veterans, the voter modernization, education, so on and so forth. And then they decided to sneak this.
And that was voted
Right
in
into
last year?
Last year, June 2018, the governor
Okay.
signed it in, but language for this particular article for the vehicle code started in January of 2018.
Okay.
So they started messing with the language, trying to figure out what to do. But the reason why no one knew about it or it didn't tip any radars between you, me, the community, even SEMA, was because the language around the new law only cited vehicle code. So unless you had a keyword search for that specific vehicle code, it wasn't on your radar.
Okay.
So they knew how to write the language from the beginning. The second thing is that by the time it was signed into law, it was tacked on 3 days before the bill went into law. So it was already finalized, the rainy day bill, and they're like, hey, let's put it in that Voter Modernization and Military Vet Act. Who's going to vote against that?
Right.
Nobody.
That's how they get a lot of things through, in general.
So it was definitely an earmark. But what it basically says is that the fix-it ticket for your modified or loud exhaust, I'm going to stress or. So loud exhaust, this is where it gets gray and ambiguous, but or loud exhaust goes from a fix-it ticket, which all of us probably have received at some point for modifying vehicles at some point in California history, because the law has actually been enacted since 2003, is when the modified vehicle or loud exhaust measure passed.
4 years after Fast and Furious, right?
Totally. No. This was in response to that.
I know
so
it was, yeah.
It was crazy. It was a big uproar, and now we're having another response, and they're saying it's due to takeovers and all these other things. I think it has a bigger issue beyond just takeovers. Takeovers is an excuse.
I would think it's to look good for the environmental lobby.
I have my theories, but I'd rather wait until I actually can find the authors. We don't know who the authors are still. It's still ambiguous. So
why do we not know that?
Because the author under the descriptor of the actual bill says the Committee of the Budget for the state of California. And that's a big committee. Mm-hmm. And so...
How big a committee is it?
It's maybe 7 or 8 people, but...
Well, that's not that many.
It's not that many.
It's not 50.
But you don't need to be the committee to actually write the language.
Right. You could be...
So it could be a lobby group.
Right.
And that's where we're kind of
where
going...
they just literally write a letter and go, we would love to see this put in somewhere.
Somewhere, somehow,
By the way,
some way.
we can discuss it at my vineyard.
Totally.
It was going to be in Malibu. Not now.
Yeah.
But can we continue fracking?
Yeah. So... Oh, playa. So, so sad. So anyway, this bill uses very, very ambiguous language in order to change the fix-it ticket to a immediate citation. So you don't get the chance to actually fix it anymore. So you can't just go to your local muffler shop, try to quiet things down, show a receipt, or swap out your exhaust system for something that is a little bit quieter but still gives you what you want. Go to the judge and say, dude, or a sheriff's office or your local PD and say, hey, check it out. Okay, cool. Sign it off your record, done. No, now it's an infraction that is an immediate citation, and it's subject to the issuing officer and his reasonable approach to whether or not your car is too loud for him.
So as a citation, does that mean that it's a citation where you just have to pay the money no matter what? Fix a ticket, you used to be able to show it.
You're going to have to pay money
You're
either way.
money either way. Does it go on a record at all, or is it?
It depends on which code they actually write down. So there's a lot of numbers. Again, got them all right here. But the codes are, the common one is the 27150 and 27151. There's a A, B, ABC subsections into it.
Is there a decibel reader?
That's where it gets fun. So the new law mandates that it's a 95 decibel limit. That's pretty loud.
Yes, it is.
It's not that loud.
It's pretty loud.
At what distance? 95 dB
It's very
at what
close.
distance?
3 meters away.
That's not far.
Away
it's not
from the
far.
center of the exhaust.
Dude, that ain't far and that ain't loud.
From idle, under 3,000 RPM.
Oh.
It's a stationary test. It's
under 3,000 RPM and not under load?
Not under load.
Bro, that's so easy to pass.
Not even a drive-by test.
That's so easy to pass.
Not even a drive-by. Here's where it gets interesting, though. It's a stationary test that's mandated by the SAE. So the test, if anybody wants to go look it up, we've got it on our YouTube channel and all that. But
yeah,
the tests are the SAE J1169 and J1492. Those are the standard tests that are even cited in the law as the mandate. So it's a stationary test, and I actually looked one up. AEM did one a long time ago for an intake for a Hyundai.
yeah.
And just for that test, they actually had to go to 4,500 RPM because they were engineering a part.
Right.
So they went a little bit beyond, but it's 7 pulls from idle after a 2-minute warm-up, so not even cold.
Okay.
The environment has to be a level playing field, nearly soundless, outdoor with no other interruptions around.
Okay.
Typically, these tests are performed at community centers, or not community centers, community colleges. So your local community college typically has one of these centers built into it because it's run by the state.
Is this a bar ref center we're talking about?
Right, the bar
Okay.
ref centers. They're
Yeah.
typically at your local community college. There are other centers, but you
Land
can go
of the
to
free, Brian.
Yeah.
Land of the free.
You know, we don't have it so bad in Canada.
No, I've heard.
This
and
is
I'll
crazy
get into that
shit.
too. So you can go to asktheref.org to find your local referee center, and they'll point you in the direction. You can call and schedule an appointment.
Wait, but hang on. 9 feet and change away. 3,000 RPMs in neutral.
Which
At
is
95 dB.
and that's louder than Laguna Seca's limit is 92 dB. So this
yeah,
is
but that's 92
drive-by.
at
That's
50,
a drive-by.
50
No, I'm-
feet
I'm
or
on your
60
side.
feet drive by.
uphill under
But
load.
uphill under load
Totally.
also. It's a completely different
You're chattering at 7,000 to 9,000 RPM if you're
Yeah,
lucky
yeah.
up that hill. So
Yeah,
you're
no.
hustling through there.
So
Yeah,
how many?
But I passed Laguna Seca, so in a Lotus Evora 400, which is actually kind of a loud car at full throttle, in third gear at top of the RPM, I broke sound, and at fourth gear at like 3,700 RPM, I did not. So it's not that loud.
I did a drive day at Laguna Seca in a Jag F-Type V6.
Yeah.
Failed black flagged by the end of the day.
wow, in a V6?
Every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time they're like, dude, this thing's too loud. We can't.
But that car under idle is not loud.
Well, this is where it gets
Or
interesting
under,
because
in neutral, I
the
mean.
language in the law only mandates that the car be under 6,000 pounds. There are no stipulations to whether the car is exempt if it's pre-1975, so this includes classic cars. There is no exemptions for new cars. I've actually talked with several manufacturers, and we're working together to try to find either an answer or a response from them, the manufacturers. So we talked to Dodge. We talked to Lambo. We talked to Ferrari. We reached out to Porsche.
Dude,
We
almost
reached out
every
to
manufacturer
every
sells a
single-
car that could break that.
that
probably.
could, and we want to find out. And it's not a gotcha campaign. We want to make sure that the owners that have these cars or are considering buying these cars know that they have the peace of mind in California that they're not going to get a ticket because the cop doesn't feel good. We've already heard a story from one guy with a brand new GT3 RS that got cited by a cop, and he was just like, too loud, go to a ref center, bye, took off. That was it. He didn't even get a chance.
So
He
what
showed him
happens
the
if you
Maroni,
go to the
he
ref
showed him
center
everything.
with a stock car?
Well, now you're wasting the state's time. So this is where the fight comes in. So what we're encouraging people to do is, if you get a citation, immediately schedule an appointment. I can tell you right now, they're already starting to get a lot of calls. We're 10 days into this new law. Think about that. 10 days and people are already freaking out. And the cops are already issuing like crazy. There is a petition out there on change.org that Jeremy Lee started, the
And does
Octane
this
Festival
test
guy.
performed on the side of the road? Is the cop doing
The
this
cop
test?
does not perform a
That's-
test.
so that's-
It is
that's
based
why.
on his impression.
Bro.
So
Yeah.
what he's doing is cops are seeing cars drive by very loudly, justifies them to pull it over.
Right.
They write you the citation.
They
and
don't
you
even have to be driving. There's a video of a guy at a stop sign. The cop says, pull over. I don't like your car.
Well, right. Basically, the cop doesn't have to justify it, and it's up to you to prove innocence at the ref center or
Yep.
the bar center, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So it does seem like it can also be a justification for pulling over loud cars, and then you have probable cause. I mean, that's
Yeah,
Well, and
maybe
they've
you could
specifically
search,
said
maybe
that
they're
search the car
targeting.
for
Right.
drugs then.
Right. And they've said that they are targeting vehicles associated with certain driving organizations, whether that be stunting, whether that
Fast
be
and the Furious
Hey,
is actually happening in real life right
honestly, I
now.
honestly
Looking for
feel
an
it's
RX-7 with a Gladiator on the side.
yeah, I don't even think they're going after that. I think they're going to start going after the exotics. I think they're going to start going after the brand new Mustangs that are coming out and all the Chevys. And I mean, you're looking at the new GT500 that's about to come out. You know that thing's going to make noise from the factory, and there's going to be a switch to do it. So now you're messing with the manufacturers and actually saying, hey, manufacturer, I know you got a normal mode or this eco mode, but you got a track mode. That's illegal. Cops could absolutely hand out a ticket for that.
that'd be that's gonna.
And
like
they're
you
well
said,
For
within
it's gonna
using
clog the
track
system.
mode on the street?
Right. or some kind of race or sport mode that allows it to free up. Now, again, this test is stationary. The issuing officer could have a drive-by.
Right.
We've already seen some posts up on Instagram where people are in parking garages and the cop's like, boom, here. It's like, I'm in a garage. It's echoing. Like,
Yeah.
you can't, this isn't the right
Yeah.
environment to actually justify based on the tests that are cited in the law. Now, I did talk to the Pasadena PD today. We had a really long conversation with their officer, Lieutenant Wilson, and we actually talked about how the cops are enforcing it, where they're getting the resources to do it. There is federal money that's available through the Department of Transportation that allows a budget to be stipend every year for the police departments. They can apply for it, and it allows for DUI checkpoints during holidays or things like that. This falls into specialty category. So the cops can go out on designated missions, 12 at a time, 8 at a time, 2 or 3 over the weekend, and this is what they're waiting for.
So they could treat like a DUI checkpoint or the smog checkpoint.
Not even a smog. Just sit on the side of the road and say your exhaust is too loud, and they just come over and pull you over. Now, it's up to the discretion of the police officer. He has a lot of tools at his discretion to utilize at that time. Whether you're being blatantly offensive, and we all know the exhaust systems that are out there that people use, and even we get annoyed by it. So I'm not saying this is to protect everybody. If you're that guy or girl that actually decides to remove everything for the sake of just being loud, you're going to get a ticket, and you should. And this law was created to do that, to enforce that. So you would always get cited at the referee center if you were in flagrant violation. That hasn't gone away. The 95 decibel rule hasn't gone away. That's not new. What's new is the power and the subjective opinion of the police officer with no justification or no physical evidence to produce that they are actually in flagrant violation at that time. In Germany, for reference, when I talked to Porsche, what they do is every officer has to carry a decibel meter.
Yeah.
Every single part has to be verified. Aftermarket part has to be verified that it is within a certain threshold.
Yep. Yeah.
So TÜV. And the police officer that catches it has to have it verified by his partner in the car. And they have to perform the test on the side of the road. And then the guy that actually got the ticket has to go and say, I got the paperwork, I've got the test, and I'm going to double check on this. And then you can go to court, and the court says, bye. Like, nope, sorry, the cops were wrong. And every single manufacturer has to meet that particular standard for their optional parts, their catalog parts, the cars that actually are performance oriented. So going back to the GT3 RS owner, he had less than 1,000 miles on his car. He had the Monroney still in the glove box, and the cop was, nope, you're too loud. So it's already happening. As we speak, cars are being targeted, new, old, in the middle. I had a kid with a 91 Corolla.
Real quick, though, but is
pulled over
the
with
guy
the
in the
fart can.
GT3 RS, was he driving like a dick in front of a cop?
I don't know the 100%
That's my one
circumstances.
question. Is like,
and I'm waiting to talk to the owner, but the information that's actually been provided to us through one of these shops that works with this particular guy, normal driving circumstances. So,
well, I think it could definitely clog the system if they start issuing all these citations, and then people go, all right, we're going to get, especially if you have a new
everybody
car,
needs to get tested.
I'm going to go fight this and get tested because I don't want to pay this money. And you go do it, and they start getting a just slog of forms from the bar center going, cop is wrong, cop is wrong, cop is wrong.
Right.
Then you, like you said, you start to have like the system is going to realize it's imperfect, and the law was designed shitty, and they're going to have to like change it. But how long will that take? You know, all
well,
these,
and we're hoping to expedite that. The petition that's circulating right now has close to 300,000 signatures, and people are kind of, and this is in 10 days. That's a lot. And we're talking celebrities, race car drivers, you name it.
The entire concept of a 50-state legal part, is that out the window now?
Who knows? I mean, California had the strictest laws, so if you had a carb sticker on what you're doing, then you were legit. Now, when I did speak to a couple of aftermarket production companies, I'm not going to name them specifically because we're still kind of working on plans together and trying to find solutions, but some of their systems do have certificates involved with their kits. And those kits, you can take it out of the instruction manual, put it immediately in your glove box. That's one thing that we're recommending. Where it gets tricky is that it's for that exhaust system. The minute you put a downpipe, put a header, put some lifted cams or other things outside of that exhaust system, that certificate may or may not hold up. But you have to prove that the other parts are carb. Now, when we did talk to California BAR, the Bureau of Auto Repair, they told us, hey, if you're only cited for that exhaust offense, we will only test for that exhaust offense. If the issuing officer decides to cite other things, then we have to test for that too. Now, we've seen some tickets that have come back with stickers on the back that the police officers put saying, hey, listen, go to a carb center, or not a carb center, but a referee center, and get this fixed, and until that time, you cannot drive this car on public roads. How am I going to get it to the carb center? How am I going to get to the referee center if I can't drive the car on public road? Am I supposed to hire a tow truck now? Am I supposed to get it? Is the state going to help me do that? No, you still have to pay for the referee test, which ranges from $100 to $200. So you're even burdening the citizen even more. And there's no voluntary preemptive program out there that allows you to actually test your car and make sure it's verified before you get a ticket to show the cop, hey, you're wrong. I'm in compliance.
Well, aren't the manufacturer of those parts supposed to be
not even just the parts? I'm talking people that have already modified their vehicles. I'm talking about people that have brand new cars. There's nothing from the manufacturer right now that says they're within standard.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're trying to work with the manufacturers right now. We've put this on the radar. One, not a lot of them knew it was going to come up. Two, we're working really closely together to find solutions for potential owners if this becomes an issue. We've already heard of one issue of one brand new car owner getting pulled over. We know there's going to be more. And it's not just targeted towards the stunting crowd or whatever. The viral video that's out there that says the $1,000 fine. That's not true. We looked up the 2019 schedule for fines for the misdemeanor and infractions for the LA Superior Court. We're waiting on Orange County. We're waiting on San Diego. We're waiting on overall. But the LA Superior Court basically says if you have a modified exhaust, it's a $25 fine plus penalties. Okay, that's not bad. Where the $1,000 fear-mongering BS that I have an issue with that is going around and caught fire and kind of got us all freaked out is the fact that there is a code in the exhaust vehicle code that does say there's a $1,000 fine. But that is associated with a builder or an installer that puts a whistle in the exhaust pipe.
The whistle go woo woo. I mean that woo woo is that woo woo.
So the manufacturer, though, the
woo
woo
woo video so much
could get a $1,000 fine. The guy driving it, $250.
Oh, the manufacturer.
So the guy that installed the woot woot, he could get a $1,000 fine.
Bro, where's Daily Driven Exotics with the whistle tips and the fucking 458s? Let's get on it.
Well, he got pulled over. Did you see his video?
No.
His latest video. He got pulled over at a stop sign. The Beverly Hills PD motorcycle cop, which are typically the ones that are going to be doing this. They're fully capable of doing it. Pasadena PD said typically these are the guys that we have out there on this particular patrol.
Motorcycle cops?
Yep.
I think they do a lot of cell phone patrol too because they have a high vantage point. They just look left, right as they go down the lanes. Yeah.
Yep. So
do Harleys pass this thing?
Well, motorcycles are also subject. They're actually only supposed to be 92 dB. So that also is a big deal.
Good fucking luck.
Well, and here's the funny thing. It says vehicles under 6,000 pounds. All right, what if you're over 6,000 pounds? 88. So if you're a big old diesel,
oh, nice.
You're supposed to be less.
Good. Good for that. So, Gail Banks would say fucking good.
That's true.
Hey, turbos help push things down. And when we reached out to McLaren, they said, listen, this isn't really high on our radar right now. We're monitoring it. But typically our cars are a little more quieter than the other ones. And we'll get back to you if this becomes a bigger issue.
Especially not under load.
True.
Not under load. Those engines aren't loud.
Exactly. And under 3,000 because, most of the cars that have sport exhaust, it opens like 3,800, 3,700. I mean, they're designed like that to pass various tests.
Right.
So,
and we want to make sure that the issuing officers know this while they're in the field. They don't know this.
Right.
They are targeting and pulling people over and citing people, quite frankly, based on profiling, based on a vague interpretation of the law, and are using their own justification or their own means or their own active level that we talked.
This is stop and frisk for white people.
It's for other people. Well, we'll see where they park most of the time to issue these tickets because we know that there's way more smog patrols. I follow 818-1320. Most of them are not white people, and they report where the local smog stops are, and they're never in our neighborhood. Like my neighborhood, your neighborhood. It's always
never seen
in
one in
a low income area.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I've never. I've not seen a fucking
Santa Monica Promenade smog stop. Right. Ocean
outside
Boulevard.
the AMG dealership.
Love to see that. Go for it. Give me a shot right by the pier. Let's set up a smog station.
Yeah, right on the entrance to the pier.
Yeah.
Just running rental cars all day.
All day.
Rented exotics.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a huge problem because the car, under load, it's louder. Between buildings, it's louder. And all these things. And if a cop can just grab you and you have to go through this rigmarole to prove it's not right. Or if you can just send $25, that's probably what they'd love.
Well, here's the thing. $25 is where it starts. Again, it's up to the judge and it's up to the courts to finalize the actual fee. Okay? $25 is the minimum bail. So what we're trying to find out is like, what have people been actually paying to make it go away? But I don't think lawmakers fully thought this out. Shocker. Because now that Mr. GT3 RS got pulled over, what are the odds that he's actually helping campaigns?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're burdening his time, you're wasting his lawyer's time, you're wasting the state's time, and you're wasting the citizens' time. What now, dude? What issue are they really trying to solve? Is it the vehicle population? Is it the custom cars? Is it the takeovers? I'd rather have a conversation with the lawmakers and say, what are you trying to solve? And let's work on it together, but you did this kind of wrong and shady.
Yeah, it seems like a strange tax. And like I interviewed the captain of the traffic division in LAPD for the drive segment we did this year, and also one of the guy that runs the task force, Sergeant Garcia, and they are kind of outmanned because there's not a lot of resources diverted to this because murder, crack, drugs, whatever.
Hey, there's a lot of things. That opioid epidemic is no joke. So.
Right? Yeah, don't get me started on that. So they don't have a lot of resources. So this could be a way for them to try to like curb that behavior, but it's so flawed as you're pointing out.
The problem is it escalates a prior fixable, very low on the totem pole, never was even on the radar for police officers, honestly, unless it was like super offensive, you were speeding, this, that, or the other, whatever. You now put an exhaust like violation on the same playing field as a speeding ticket, as a traffic violation.
Can you get points?
No, it's not a points thing, but the cost and the resources are now level. So what's a cop going to do? Sit there and try to go to court over a gun and tell you, hey, I clocked you at this, or you were really going fast. You totally blazed by that stop sign, man. I know it. You know it. I got a witness. It's on my dash cam. Come on. Stop sign or stop light or all these other infractions that are common with our community. Now you have a one-sided argument with a cop that can just say, it felt loud to me.
Well,
so
let's say you
tell me that power struggle right there.
Let's say you go to the ref and you pass. Do you have to pay the fine, or are you vindicated?
Well,
there?
You've already paid for the ref to verify.
You don't get
so now
$100
to $200. You're not going to get reimbursed for that. That's a state-funded thing. So now you got to go in because now technically you're using resources, and you have to pay them to actually administer the test that the officer advised.
So you either have to pay a $25 citation or you have to pay a $200 ref appointment fee.
The $25 citation, I want to make this clear, is a minimum. The courts have other surcharge fees, processing fees associated with it. Sometimes it's like $80 all the way up to $250. Some of them you can't exceed $250, and they'll hit that max, okay? But you have to set a court date. So now you got to take time off of work. Now you got to go in.
You have to go to court. You can't plead guilty and mail like speeding tickets or something like that?
Nope.
What does the judge do? I guess I'm just asking.
What do you think the judge wants to do? Hear your case about an exhaust system, or
no, they
deal with
crank through,
the
but like,
idiot that actually killed somebody? Or,
that's what I'm surprised by. I'm surprised they would actually. I guess all citations have like the right to go to court, but it seems like.
Right.
You get a speeding ticket, you can plead guilty by mail, just send the money, and it goes to, quote, court.
But you shouldn't have to plead guilty by court if there's no verifiable way, because I can guarantee no police officer that is out there, and I'm going to use a blanket statement here, but no police officer out there has trained in the SAE standardized test program for stationary decibel reading on exhaust levels. So you're telling me a cop can discern what's typically 80 decibels for normal traffic.
You think cops
and
actually
say that
train
you're
on
95?
The visual speed checking?
They say I've heard that argument
before.
too. Like an officer's eye is a calibrated blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of cops with glasses, and I don't know how calibrated they are now.
Yeah.
So
well, this is a weird thing.
He had a gun.
This is a strange, like innocent until proven guilty. But in this case,
you're guilty upon
citation. Then you have to go to court, and then if the cop, it's almost like even if you don't go to the ref center.
Right. And that's a great point. Innocence before proven guilty.
Shouldn't
that's
the city, county,
out.
state have to go and verify their accusal?
Well, before the referee would step in earlier, and the $25 fine and the fix it, or you could fix it and not go to a referee. That was the other thing. You could prove that you got it fixed. That was a receipt, whatever. And we all know.
Go to a police station and they'll sign off, right?
Right. I mean, these guys are busy as it is, and we're not trying to like flood them with something else. But now they found an easier way to pull you over, so it's a justifiable reason to pull. It's reason to pull you over as much as a speeding. So now they don't have to wait for you to speed. You could just cruise. And I'll fully admit, I got a ticket right before this law went into effect in November last year in my E30. and a cop was sitting next to me. She was going to make a left-hand turn. I was in the lane next to her to go straight. This was in El Segundo, right next to Dockweiler by the Chevron over there. And as I pulled away, I knew she was there. I'm not going to do anything stupid. Like, I know I have an exhaust system on my E30. It had a MagnaFlow kit. It was nice. It sounded good, but I didn't think it was too offensive. I've had offensive cars before. This was properly built, properly executed. I pull away in first. She decides to get behind me. So she gets out of her left-hand turn lane, pulls up behind me, starts driving. Okay, cool, whatever. Follows me, goes next to me on the right-hand side, then gets behind me. Boom, lights. I'm like, wasn't speeding. I know that. I'm really at a loss. I don't have any tint on my front windows, no wheels. I'm not dropped. I'm like OG Radwood style, right? Pulled you over for a loud exhaust. Can you lower your back windows? Those were tinted. I don't know what exhaust and windows have to do with each other, but okay. Roll them down. Okay. Yeah, you have a loud exhaust, so I'm going to cite you for that today. It's a fix-it ticket, but, I just feel your exhaust was too loud. I was driving behind you. It was way too loud. I'm like, so do you have a decibel meter? Like, I know it's 95 decibels. Like, how do you justify that it was 90? I've never had a car pulled over for this, and I told her I build cars, and we've done this, and what's up? And she just kind of looked at me like, felt loud to me. Sorry. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Didn't even give me an option to argue. Didn't give me her. And she was even looking through her code book to figure out what code to put on. Well, now everybody knows the code, and they're just letting them fly, man. So we're trying to educate the public on what the law is and why it changed and why it's a big deal. Because there are even other campaigns across the country.
Wait, so you were pulled over for this before this law took effect?
Before this law. So I'm technically on the fix-it ticket. Now, I've since sold the car, so I think all I have to do is walk in and pay the $25 fine. So I'm sure the El Segundo PD are going to love to see me.
Have a real good time when he gets pulled over for the first time.
But I think
right.
I mean, BMWs aren't that loud. Even I mean, race car, whatever, that's different. But your car is not going to be that loud. It's just it seems like a very subjective thing, which is very dangerous.
It's 100% subjective.
And I don't know why they can't carry a decibel meter. I know
they have to carry. If they got to carry a breathalyzer, and this is going to be a thing, then they got to carry a decibel meter.
LAPD actually has on their website all the certified all the certified equipment down to the bullet. Down to the zip tie cuffs, to any pepper spray, any flashlight that has to be in a cruiser, what cruisers they're using, what other resources they have as official gear of the LAPD. Didn't see a decibel meter.
No.
Long Beach PD got back to me and says, we do not have decibel meters. Flat out.
Yeah.
And they told me to go to CHP and that they really didn't have any official response.
Does sheriffs or CHP have decibel meters?
I'm waiting to hear back from CHP. Pasadena PD did say they had decibel readers. They have about 8. And their supervisors actually hold them. And so if you get pulled over, you would and that officer wasn't the supervisor that had it on his persons, you would have to request for a supervisor to come out and actually run a dB test. But again, remember, average street noise is about 80 decibels. So you turn that thing on and you're already in a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So tell me how you can discern my car starting point versus this, and running the test, 7 pulls, 3 meters away from the center of the exhaust tip level.
And it's quiet.
Again, then you're trying to administer the test. Even ambient noise is 50 decibels.
And with the test is done in what, a quiet, soundproof
It's like within,
room?
not necessarily. It's there are standards within it. The test being administered, I think it's like a 40 to 50 decibel limit of ambient noise, and then the test is allowed within 0.1 decibels of acceptance. So 95.1, you might
right,
pass.
because the risk is if you get pulled over on like the highway, the 405 when it's moving
where
is
are we
loud,
getting pulled over?
So
ain't in the canyons as often as it is on public roads. So it's kind of crap. It's a lot of crap, and we're trying to enter a dialogue with lawmakers to make sure that we can reorganize the language and say, listen, you got carried away, you got caught, and we're going to find a way to move forward and address the real issues that you have. If you're trying to remove these vehicles from the road and this is your way to do it, you're going to have a really, really hard time because now you're messing with manufacturer sales.
Yeah.
And they didn't think that through. Honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
The fact that they're pulling over new cars, brand new cars. And it doesn't have to be the F-Type. It doesn't have to be a Porsche. It doesn't have to be a Ferrari or any of the other big ones.
Two cars I'm driving this week will be targets for this. No
they
question.
Absolutely could be. And I'd be interested to see if that does happen. But
I'm not interested.
I know you're not.
I'm definitely not.
But
hand them the fucking press card documents. Let them get confused.
Yeah,
and roll their eyes
it'll
a few
just roll off.
times.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
No, so it'll be really interesting to see what kind of conversations we can have with local lawmakers and make sure that, hey, you're starting to affect the bottom line. And this is where I get back into the language of the law that is written. Modified or. The or loud opens up a floodgate.
Up all doors, yeah.
The modified is subjective
shouldn't it be modified
as well.
And loud?
The modified is subjective as well. Put two GTIs next to each other, one with the performance package, one without, and tell me which one you think is modified. But they're factory.
Yeah.
Right,
well,
so
how many
to
cars
carry
come
their
with
sticker.
sport exhaust?
Exactly. Optional sport exhaust, Porsche GTS.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be a little bit of a radar for police officers. And I've had some police officers flat out tell me, well, then don't attract attention. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense. Like,
well, it's got to be like modified. It should be modified and loud because it can. If it's modified but it's quiet, well, who gives a shit?
Well, what's really interesting to me is that there were laws passed saying that modifying your car is not illegal, but this vehicle code says modifying exhaust is illegal.
Well, because modifying your suspension isn't, and modifying your
it's
spark plugs
with
isn't.
The car. It's part of the car. So my issue is, where do you draw the line on modification? And if exhaust
I think
is
that's
truly
a little clearer than you do. I think you can modify your car, but except for that part.
Like you can.
I'm not saying I agree with it, but I think the language is clear enough.
Because you can redo the floor in your house without a permit, but you can't add another level to it.
Yeah.
Or a room, right?
Totally understand.
Yeah, and modifying your car could mean switching a spark plug from a fucking Bosch to a Magnetti Morelli.
Right.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so
well, this is where it gets really interesting and starts the argument. Like, where's the line for modification? Because there are systems that comply with the modification of an exhaust system, and now police are saying you can't modify your car. Well, that's inaccurate. You can't. It's not illegal in California to modify your car. That's a giant misconception. We're allowed to modify our cars. We've all built modified cars. The problem with this language is now it blankets every single car. And 40 million people subjected to this particular law being pulled over at any time or even just cited. Let's say you are speeding and the cop decides to be super annoying that day and decides to say your stock Ford Mustang has allowed exhaust. That's coming. It's already happened. They're already being targeted. We've already seen cases of this happening, and we're getting pictures of citations from these people saying, this is what I was doing. Here's where they got me. They're posting videos online. They're posting videos on Instagram basically saying this cop nicked me for this. And the cops are saying, I'm here to promote traffic safety. What's my exhaust doing to you?
That's just a stupid talking point.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
that means the cops don't know they were told to go out there and do it.
I've heard that same
I have been told there's no such thing as a quota.
140.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know how fast I had to go to catch you?
Hey,
really? You were doing 140. I was doing 74.
You know how scary, by the way, that Crown Vic is
until your
for you?
third speeding offense that it reaches $1,000. So tell me how my exhaust system could potentially be $1,000 and all this fear mongering going around with that price tag.
Is there some
It's a cash
neighborhood
grab.
that is annoyed and banded together?
I don't know if
promote
and that's what we're trying to find out.
Finding the author would be
SEMA
fascinating.
Network, yeah,
The reasoning for it.
Look, discovering that this was attached to the rainy day bill 3 days, the mandatory minimum of a 72-hour read period before it was signed into actual law. Come on. You got to be a little craftier than that.
Crazy
you
that
started the language in January. Like, don't
It's been
start.
voted on.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Can you
system.
modify the language in a bill like that and add things after the bill's been voted in?
Not after. Then you would have to seek to do a whole new amendment and all kinds of stuff, and it has to go through its due diligence. This bill went through its due diligence, or this clause went through its due diligence. It was just attached within the mandatory minimum in order to get through, and they knew the rainy day bill was going to go through. They knew the voter modernization and military veteran bill was going to go through, so might as well pop that right in there. What are you going to do? Make a bill for itself and call attention to it?
I wish they did that.
I think that's how a fair society should run.
Yeah. It'd be great.
Fair society would be wonderful. But here we are, and we're just trying to educate the public on what they can do. So there's a couple things that you can do. One, if you get a ticket, immediately schedule an appointment. Two, if you have a certified exhaust, keep it in your glove box. We're working with manufacturers to see if there's something else that we can provide to the public, or potentially free programs or small fee programs, like way under a test fee, that are sponsored by certain organizations or manufacturers or shops, where people can come out, test their car for this fee or for free, depending
Instead
on how
of dyno days, can we have decibel days?
Totally.
Where it's like fucking a limbo. Like
and even just to
first
learn,
car under 92.
yeah,
Blip, 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 blip,
totally.
Ooh, I blew an
But-
86. My shit is quiet. Yo,
Bro,
check
I
out my new
learned-
exhaust. You can't hear it at all.
I feel like the problem you'd have way too many winners because I think so many cars are going to be under that decibel level at 3,000 RPMs without load on.
Well, that's what we're trying to
It's so
prove.
stupid.
We're trying to prove that the test is subjective to a stationary observation at those conditions. B, I highly doubt an officer is fully trained in that actual environment, let alone process in order to bring a valid citation to an individual. 3, it's subjective. There's no physical evidence that needs to be produced by the police officer outside of him appearing in court saying, "Yep, it was loud." Like, that's literally all the cop has to do is walk in and say, "Yeah, it was loud."
I mean, you know, that's why they could amend. If you go through this process of protesting and stuff, because it's so new, we're all freaking out. But I think because of people like you, and we're getting the word out about how it actually works,
Yep.
they could amend this in the future and go, all right, every cop has to carry a decibel meter, and it has to be this quiet ambient
Well, now
outside
you get
to do
into
it.
budget. So
Right,
that
you-
surplus goes out the
Okay.
window real quick.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So then maybe
Yeah.
they go either if we're getting so backlogged with people that are proving their innocence of this, that's costing the state money. So
Yeah.
this is a dumb idea.
Yeah.
And if we have to start proving it, which obviously increases
It's
the
a
budget,
burden.
then they'll
Yeah.
get rid of it because it won't actually make the money they're trying to make by all these citations.
Whatever they're trying to do, remember that the Department of Transportation and the fees that are associated with it typically fund what programs? Education, public service, things like that. And it's clear in the articles that, hey, this goes back to help fund education. Who's almost going on a strike right now?
Are they?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not up to date on the teachers. What's
So
going
the
on with
teachers union's
I voted
about
for
to go on
increasing those.
strike.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I don't have fucking
It's a
kids in schools.
huge-
I don't watch what schools
I don't have
happen.
kids in schools, but NPR is great. So, but
All right.
So
Stand corrected.
there's a lot of things on the back end that this particular bill, this particular part of the bill, addresses expenditures to do with the budget. So they knew it was going to make money.
Yeah.
Right.
At the end of the day,
and it will.
let's all fess up. It's going to make money. You knew it was going to happen. You knew you were going to have some PR blowback. You just pissed off the wrong crowd, honestly, because the car community is not just a car community that runs around doing burnouts all the day. There are guys like Sean Lee who run charitable foundations. There's guys that do Motor for Toys. There's guys that are engaged with their communities and helping set policies and safer laws, car shows, or you name it, fundraisers. Now you're messing with the Pebble Beach dudes and all their race cars.
Yeah.
You think Bruce Meyer wants to run around in his Ferrari anymore?
He
could get pulled over.
It's just a flawed law that
Yeah.
affects far
It's an
more people than they
incredibly
thought. That's
flawed
what it is,
law,
you know?
and that's what
Bruce
sucks. And
Meyer
sorry,
drives
Bruce,
around
to-
a marked police car, by the way. I don't think Bruce Meyer is worried about fucking anything. He drove a marked police car to Radwood.
That's
Really?
awesome.
He
That
owns
was
a
sick, too.
Fox body cop car that's
Oh, that's
fully
his.
marked and functional.
Good for him.
Wow.
He goes, I don't have a problem with this.
Oh, I'm sure you don't. Technically a historical
two
copy. The
11.99s.
same guys who run around with like fire trucks and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. Like, okay, yeah, you can run around a vintage, military truck and no one's going to pull you over because what are they going to do? So where I'm getting at with this is like, okay, even if you have the resources to pay the ticket and make it go away, you're wasting my time.
Yeah.
You're wasting a lot of people's time. 40 million people are going to have their time wasted with this freaking law. Now, 1% of 40 million are going to have their time wasted with this law. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
At the minimum, the budget that they were hoping to get in to offset some costs within this year before they knew they probably would have to amend it, we're just raising the awareness 10 days in as opposed to 10 months in. And because it caught everybody off guard and they had a full year to plan, I've done this research in 72 hours. So
Okay, so what do we do?
So now there's a couple ways that we can
I'm
move
depressed and want to kill myself.
It's a good thing you don't have the Corvette anymore.
flood the phones. If you because there is no voluntary
Where
program,
do we get the numbers?
you go to asktheref.org and you can type in your zip code and it'll pull up a referee center or a phone number that you can actually utilize to schedule an appointment. Even if you don't have a
You
citation.
said flood the phones.
So that's where they'll
Are we
give you the
talking about
phones.
lawmakers or are we talking about flooding the refs lines?
We are flooding the ref.
Oh, seriously?
With questions?
You're flooding the ref because the California Bureau of Auto Repair will not and does not have the resources to offer public certification programs. So you can't walk in and say, test me so I don't get a ticket. No. It's not until you get a citation that you can go in and get a test. So I'm like, well, that's kind of bass-backwards. How about we come up with something and like try to figure something out? Even if you go to a private company, they're not always available to the public, and they're not typically around the corner. So you can call 1-800-622-7733. That's the referee line, 1-800-622-7733, and just call and say, I would like to schedule a voluntary program. Do you have anything like that? No? Okay, bye. Call the next day. I would like to schedule a voluntary program. Do you have anything like that? No? Okay. So the more times you call, every single time one of us calls, the guy that actually needs the appointment can't make the appointment, because everybody who wants a voluntary system is flooding the phones, and now you're burdening the system, and they're going to have to go talk to the cops and say, knock it off. We can't even handle the guys that really need this.
I mean, you could also calling the lawmakers makes a huge deal. Like,
lawmakers help, but we don't know which one.
I think you can
call them all.
Call all 7 or 8.
Really? Yeah. No, it's true.
Look,
I mean, the phone calls are worth like 10,000 emails.
The director of the department of the committee of the budget is a guy who operates District 19 up in San Francisco. His name is Phil Ting.
Mm-hmm.
He's another guy that is in charge of the committee of the budget. So that's a good place to start.
Yeah, they track that. Like, they really, whatever issue comes up on a ballot ever in any election, senator, congressman, mayor, whatever, when you call, they write that shit down, and because they have a formula of this many phone calls is worth this many emails, this many tweets, So it's far more effective.
Right. And the LA Department of Transportation is also another good place. They have to show up at certain community meetings, a certain number of community meetings throughout the year. So the more that we can show up and be like, yo, this law, we need to rewrite it. We need to put some brackets on it. We need to introduce some checks and balances, whatever. That's what's actually going to get it through. This is what's going to cause it. Now, the petition's a great start, 300,000. We're working with Jeremy Lee and trying to get the base to tell us their stories, tell us how it's affecting their lives, their budgets.
What's is there a threshold for this petition?
I believe it's 500,000 before it gets on an official ticket.
Okay.
So is this the right one right here?
Let's see. Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
You got it. Change.org. It's called Nullify Fines for Loud Mufflers, AB 1824 in California. Nullify, I don't know if we'll get there, but maybe we can get back to where we were and it's less of a burden on the community. That's a great start.
Yeah, maybe you can't give more police more arbitrary power.
Exactly.
I mean,
that's the big issue.
Yeah.
That's my biggest issue. Now,
Would
again,
we be as
in
mad
talking
if they
with
had
the
to
police,
carry
I feared for the life of my ears.
So in talking with the police, there are options available to police officers during that time. Now, there are more active police officers, I'm using air quotes, and there are more inactive or passive police officers that are on the beat, and it's up to their discretion. Now, there are several tools that escalate whether or not what the officer is going to issue. The officer could come up and say, bro, you're really loud. I'm going to give you a verbal warning. Fix it. The next time I catch you, I'm going to have to give you the actual citation. Okay? Verbal warning, totally fine, totally reasonable. I think that's a great first step. This whole write them where you find them, I think that's insane and shouldn't have been the policy. The fact that it passed in June and there was no public awareness program for the car community to say, hey, it's coming. Hey, it's coming. There was 2 or 3 articles around June that actually called it out because the reporters were annoyed that a motorcycle drove by and they wrote it in their article. And they didn't catch fire because they didn't want it to. So you had between June and January, and it was on nobody's radar because nobody knew the vehicle code. And it wasn't until it was too late. Some sneaky ass shit.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So you tell me what's the reasonable time period to actually have a campaign to say, hey, listen, guys, this is coming in January. You should fix your stuff. We're going to have some centers.
Why would you do that if you want the money from the citation?
Yeah.
Exactly. They needed the money.
Yeah, of course.
So
what's
always go back
what's
to
the
money.
next opportunity to get it changed?
We don't know. So the petition starts. I'm 72 hours into this, really deep, and we're working with the SEMA Action Network to figure out the authors, start a dialogue with them. We've already reached out to most of the police departments that we know offer these particular citations or have been issuing these citations. San Diego, we've heard, have gotten an uptake, so we're going to reach out to them next. Pasadena PD, apparently over the years prior to this, have been issuing citations to the point that California Bar is going to put a referee center in PCC, Pasadena City College. So they've even told me through Bar's own responses to my questions, we're putting one at PCC because of the influx of this particular citation and other smog-related citations. So it's a problem, and you're making money off of it. But the more you burden the system with the amount of appointments that they can't address within a reasonable time period, they have to deal with it. And that's a more immediate way of fast tracking this. So even if you have a citation, schedule an appointment. That's the best thing you can do.
But if you have one and you schedule an appointment, can you drive your car on the street in between?
You're going to have to.
Yeah, you got no choice,
There's no other rules that like we've seen in the law that says that it has to be removed from the road. Now, what we've seen on the tickets are different. And I can show you guys here on my phone from one guy that actually sent me this. And I was just kind of like really blown away by the whole thing that they would actually issue this kind of a ticket.
Brian, does this sound crazy to you coming from Canada to see this?
This is what it says. I mean,
we actually have a couple similar laws in the books in my province. Yeah, so the police are empowered to seize drivers' cars and their licenses if they exceed the speed limit by 30 miles an hour, or, and here's the best one, if they are stunt driving or street racing, and that depends on the officer's definition of stunt driving or street racing.
Right.
So I'm guessing that means braking traction. Right?
Exactly, causing a little bit of noise, maybe some tire noise.
Squeaky off the line.
But that's a risky one. My friend in high school had a 57 Chevy pickup truck that had, standard posi from Chevy from 1957, developed in 1942, and he was making a left turn and the wheels chattered because it's old ass LSD, and it just went, and he got pulled over and cited for exhibition of speed.
Right.
And the cop wrote speed limit 25, estimated speed 25, because he was like, it was like first gear. Yeah. So he went to court and he's like, how can I be exhibiting speed when I'm going the speed limit? And the ticket was thrown out. But it's kind of like when you leave that kind of subjectivity to it, it's really risky, and it can, the court can be clogged, or people just start saying money because they don't want to deal with it, and they go, oh fuck, $25. Great. But it sucks.
Right. And what we're trying to do is is opposed to paying the $25, introduce the checks and balances again. There's got to be a middle guy. There's got to be a middle player. There's got to be a middle verification. There has to be something on site.
Yeah, I'm not supporting people just send the money. I think this is
I don't
super
think they should
flawed.
send the money.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't pay your ticket if you're within that time frame. Like, I don't want it on your record. I don't want you to warrant out for your arrest. So I don't know if we're going to change this before your 30-day notice is up, but just know that we are fighting, that there are the right people that are having the right conversations, and it is on everybody's radar, and we're going to find solutions to move forward, because this amount of subjective power shouldn't be on one side. I think it should be fair and balanced, and I think if you're going to have your officers issuing a ticket for something that is scientifically proven, they should verify it on site with some kind of test, with some kind of measurement, with some kinds of check and balance in there. Now, are they going to duel up like they do in Germany and do the whole blah, blah, blah? Probably not. They think signing a form in triplicate, which is also in the law, means that, hey, we did our duties. No. I'm sorry. This is a scientific test. So when you have a speed gun that is checked and calibrated and all this, the dB meter has to go through just as amount of a rigorous check as anybody else. When you look at these tests that are performed,
compensate for background noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You actually have these tests. Let me see if I can pull up the AEM one again.
We know the difference between a directional mic
and the ticket he just gave me on his phone, it has a sticker on the back, and it shows, a box where they write the violation numbers, and then it says state referee certification required, no officer sign-offs. Vehicle must be removed from roadway immediately and may not be driven until in compliance.
Wow. So how are you getting it to the center? Like, that sticker is completely in
I've seen that discussed on forums before, and this is not legal advice, but a lot of people are like, look, I had to go to the ref or the bar.
Right.
You just tell them you didn't drive it there. Like, oh, yeah, a tow truck dropped me off. I'm in the parking lot. You might get in trouble for that. Do not call me if you get in trouble. Do not email or text or anything like that. But I understand that not everyone's going to use a tow or pay the money to have something towed there. And for them to expect that is...
It's a dick move, but I think that's what they expect. They do expect you to use a tow truck. That sucks. Yep. But, like... here's the thing. That sucks. But if you get a violation like that, I think it's hypocritical if they don't expect you to use a tow.
I agree.
If they give you the violation and then they let you drive off, that's hypocritical.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Just park your car and technically they let you drive off.
I'm just saying.
I totally understand the logic. I think that's why if you went to the ref's not going to look out and go, did you drive that here?
Right.
They're not a law enforcement officer. So
no, but if the cop gives you the ticket, you expect he makes you get the car fucking flatbedded home.
Do you think they wouldn't let you drive home?
I mean, I would hope that the cop would, but you got to at least expect that they're not going to write hypocritical language in the code.
Like, you would hope so. You would hope so. And honestly, the duties of the referee center, I want to make this very clear, they do not issue additional citations. They do not settle the fines. They do not help identify your part being within code or fix things. They are strictly referees. They just want to see if the violation that the citing officer said holds water. If it does, cool. If it doesn't, here's your proof. Go to the court, get it taken away. All this is time. It has everything to do with time and money, as it all boils down.
That's what really sucks is plenty of people don't have the time or money to do these kinds of things.
Right. So and if some of these fines in some courts do go to $1,000, listen, the guys and girls that are in flagrant violation of this law, we all know who they are. Time to pay the piper, dude. Fix your stuff. No one wants to hear that crazy, crappy car. Outside of that, cars that I've driven, people that have been a part of this community for years and decades who know how to modify vehicles within certain regulations or want to work with the state to make sure that their businesses stay alive. Talk to BBI today. They've already had to do several swaps because the owners are that freaked out. They're going back to stock. They're like, screw it, I'm out.
Why is the owner of a GT3 RS afraid of this? I don't understand. These people have no fucking life. They have all the money in the world.
Well, it's not just the GT3 RS owner who got pulled over for it.
They may not want to deal with it. They don't have the time.
Again, it's the time. For real. What are they going to do? Going to throw their lawyer at it when they already have them working on something else? Like, I don't want to pay $1,200 an hour for a lawyer to actually go in and fight this ticket.
For real.
Yeah, I don't think the guy who's got a fucking straight pipe on his car, on his GT3 RS, is that concerned with it.
So far, we've heard different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even
stock GT3 RSs are already really loud.
Exactly.
Yes.
Is it possible they were just like, you know what, this car's already really fucking loud?
It could be, but the fact that they're already taking counteractive measures to avoid this is indicator enough that the state, A, has been successful in scaring the population and the community as a whole. B, it's going to affect businesses because once they go stock, guess what? They ain't going back to BBI. You're losing business. Like, what else are you going to do? You're going to get a roll cage?
BBI does plenty of other things.
Look, they do a bunch of other really great stuff, but the likelihood, and again, it's about the perceivable likelihood of them wanting to modify.
Well,
is going to dwindle.
I disagree with you because we said that it's legal to modify your car. It's illegal to put a loud exhaust on.
Right.
And as we and many of the public, actually, as many of the public don't seem to believe, is like, you don't have to go catalyst to make a lot of horsepower. High flow cats are really good now. So everybody calm the fuck down, put the cap back on. Your car smells like shit. You don't have to run straight pipes. Like, so you can get a stock muffler or a quiet muffler.
You don't think they might be challenged
that flows really well.
A good quiet exhaust.
What?
They might be challenged to make a fucking quiet exhaust.
The Grand Tour guys don't understand
a lot of horsepower.
Why people need to modify their cars beyond stock anyway. You've heard Jeremy Clarkson say that time and time again. Like, you shouldn't have to modify your cars. The manufacturers make wonderful things.
I mean, I completely disagree with it. They make wonderful things, but there's always a reason to modify a car.
I always feel like there's a roof that hasn't been reached, and the manufacturers always dial down. We all know that. To be within compliance for certain things. What we're trying to do is justify it, verify it, and make sure that everybody can play on the same playing field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's our biggest mission.
I also think it's possible to make a shitload of horsepower without making your car crazy loud.
Yeah.
Make a really fast
Turbos
car.
help.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can make a really fast car. But if stock cars are getting pulled over,
that's where I have an issue.
If it's truly not scientific at all, it's just guy on side of road who happens to have a certain uniform
and that's
on.
What's going on?
And all of a sudden, 10 days ago, became an expert on decibels.
Right. That's the big issue.
Predictive decibels, mind you.
And that's where we're trying to educate the public and saying, hey, here's the law as it's written. Here's the vehicle code as it's written. Here's what's in reference as it's written. Here's how it affects you as a tuner. Here's how it affects you as a community. Here's what you can do about it.
It's really weird because when in 2003, 04, they were measuring headlight height.
Yeah, I remember those.
But it was measurement. Yeah. It was, hey, we'd fucking tape measure, your car's too low. It was an attack on the modified car community, but at least it was based on measurements instead of like
was it like 22 inches from the center of your headlight, blah blah blah, whatever.
I mean, whatever it was, it required some kind of data,
right?
Like
and
something.
This is completely subjective upon the issuing officer's reasonable observation. That's the language that's been communicated to me, and I'm like, you're hoping he's reasonable, but odds are, if he's pulled you over for that and told you he's pulled you over for that,
not necessarily reasonable.
Not all of them, but there are
Some
good
of them
ones.
are.
Some of
I
them
had
are
a
better
great
than others.
conversation with some guys, some sheriff's department guys at the top of the Snake the other day. They were into cars. They were enthusiastic. They were chill. They were not giving people an
Some of these
unnecessary
guys tune
level
cars
of shit.
themselves.
Yeah,
They
totally.
know what's up. So it's interesting. And those are the ones that, look, there's good guys and bad guys on both sides. Good apples, bad apples on both sides. Even in our community, there's a reason why this was escalated. And same thing on the police side. They are enforcing this. And we're trying to find a way to level the playing field. At the end of the day, we want to level the playing field, have an open dialogue, and say, listen, we think you're going about this the wrong way. Let's attack the core issue, and let's get back to playing nice in the sandbox.
Yeah, I think you will. I think we will. I think this is very important. I'm glad you came on the show and broke this down because the articles I found were pretty light on details and content. But
yeah, and a lot of it's left up to interpretation. There was a video that circulated where a cop says, here's your $1,000 fine, you got to pay it, and you got to fix it, and you can never drive this car again on the road, and, we're out here in force, we have a federal grant, blah, 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 blah. Okay, little too hot, dude. Coming in hot. Pump your brakes. It's not a $1,000 fine. At the end of the day, it's up to the judge.
Yeah, the cop doesn't actually impose the fine.
Cops do not impose the fine. They follow the schedule based on the courts. Okay, they issue the citation. The court determines the fine. The court's already determined the fine and said it's $25 with a cap of about maybe $250. But the test, I think, all in, you're not going to pay more than $500 if you are in violation of this particular citation.
The best way to not get you in violation is to not drive like a dick around cops.
That too.
Just saying.
That's a great idea.
A cop
Just
actually
saying.
told me that too. If you don't want to be noticed, try not to be noticed.
Yeah, it's really easy. Let me
you
tell you
go
something.
rap at a corner.
It's really easy in this city to not get pulled over. It's easier than
It is.
anywhere else I've lived. I've lived in a bunch of different places. It's super easy to not get pulled over.
Yeah. They see you. You see them.
You
Behave.
smile and wave,
Smile,
and don't
wave,
drive like an
nod
asshole.
your head. Be cool.
You're not getting pulled over in this city.
Be
The
cool.
cops have fucking shit to do.
I would hope so.
I feel
We're
bad
hoping
for
that
all
these-
those folks that got those tickets, but like
Right.
I haven't heard the cops side of the story about what those people were doing.
Right, and when we look at these tickets that we've gotten so far, at the top is exhaust. So that's the initial offense.
Well, it just came in. Maybe they're trying to like, come on, their first fucking
Right.
squad meeting.
Right.
It was, all right, boys.
This is what's up.
Turn your decibel meter ears on, 'cause we're getting some exhaust this week.
They
You're
always
all
do that because that
certified.
also helps. They did a big crackdown in Angeles Forest like 6 months ago, and the CHP put on Instagram, and there was like 6 Explorers up there at a parking lot
I
we
remember.
use a lot.
A lot.
And they were like, "We're cracking down on fast driving." And what's funny is a lot of the locals drive faster than we do up there.
Yeah, they know the road.
in like an Accord. But it was a PR thing. Like they wrote 12 tickets, and then everyone goes, "Oh, I'm not gonna go there and speed anymore," and then they don't have to go back for like 2 months.
Look, I will say that there has to be some PR around this to make sure that the cops are out and they're going to enforce it, and they'll go in waves. I think it'll be up and down throughout the rest of the year unless we get the carry the momentum through to have conversations with the lawmakers and to amend the actual law. What we're trying to do here is arm the public with the knowledge of what they can do preemptively. Be nice. Don't be a dick. Understand that, hey, if you think your exhaust is a little loud, it probably is.
Yeah.
Take some measures to combat that. Go to a shop that is within your budget and put in a removable section piece that, for now silences things, but quick clamp it out and throw a pipe in there later once we clear all this stuff up. Pass for now. Flood the system at asktheref.org. Make sure that they understand that there's a public outcry, because one of the responses that we got back from California Bar when we asked what has been the public response to this new law, they said, according to California Bar, this hasn't been made high up on our priority list yet, but it's high up on our priority list. So unless we make it a problem for them, it's only going to be a problem to us. And so we have to make it a problem for them to start a conversation. Right now, we're just getting educated.
There's someone with more power we can call besides the refs. I feel like the refs don't have that much power.
The refs have more than you think, because they're the guys who are telling the cops, we have too many people here and we can't, you're wasting our time with this crap, because we'd rather get other things to do, smog or testing or whatever things that they need to be doing, because there's other things they do at these referee centers that are actually valuable to the state, whether it's testing emissions on flagrant vehicles, trucks, buses, I mean, there's even code for harbors and freights. These guys have to go out to the docks and things like that. It's not just the exhaust systems.
It probably wasn't thought about. So I think to your question, Matt, is if you call senator, congressman, mayor, the transportation guy in San Francisco, and you just, I'm a citizen, I'm concerned, I have a bone stock, committee of the budget. Yeah. I have a bone stock XYZ, but now I've heard of people getting pulled over with bone stock cars. Is that going to affect me? Because I don't know, what do I do? And you just call and ask a lot of these questions that we're talking about right now. It puts it in front of the lawmaker's face of maybe I didn't think about this. I didn't realize this would be as much of a problem. Yeah. They start getting hundreds or thousands of calls a day, and they have to go talk about it, and then figure out how to amend it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what we want to start. It's like, be a part of that conversation. We should have been a part of this conversation in like well before June.
That's not how you make money, Ezekiel.
No, I know.
What are you doing?
I'm fucking with it.
I love our country. It's going really well right now.
So good.
It's going really well.
It's like you order a steak. You order an hour ago. You're like, I'm getting a steak, and then right before it goes out to the waiter, another waiter just like slides shrimp onto the plate, or like a banana, or just like, I just want this banana to go through the kitchen
right
really
now,
quick.
It's
and then
peanuts
like, okay, we're
to the
passing
guy
this
that's
banana.
actually allergic to peanuts.
Yeah.
That's what they slid in. So it's like, hey, dude.
Hell.
There was something that you had mentioned, and I just spaced out. It'll come back, but.
Well, I'm depressed now. Thoroughly.
Oh, I'm sorry to bum you out, man.
Brian, you're from Canada. Dude, say something nice.
Say
Brian,
something cool.
cheer me up.
I've got nothing nice to say. I just want to get a ticket this week while I'm here because I have no way to defend it.
Well, you're in press cars.
Well,
you have M plates.
Look, you have
M
press
plates.
cars. You're
I do have
registered
M
at a
plates.
state. Like, I'm hoping.
I've got
what
one
we've
that's
seen, you'll
registered
get a
at a
warning.
state, but I mean, and they're both loud. And I drove that Gunther Works car the other day. That thing
they're fun.
Loud.
Those are cool.
Yeah,
that's loud.
You want to make 430 horsepower in a fucking air-cooled 6. It's going to be loud.
Do. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good.
That's one you can't get around.
Yeah.
That's just a math problem.
Yep.
That engine's also $250,000.
Is that what it costs?
Yeah, to make 430 NA horsepower and air-cooled,
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I talked to Peter a long time ago before he kicked that project off, and we were going back and forth. Do I go turbo? Do I go NA? Do I go turbo? Do I go NA? I was like, dude, go NA.
Gotta
go NA.
Yeah.
No, it's not $250,000. It's like 150. Sorry.
Still
enough. Still a good chunk.
The
DLS
crazy
car. The Singer DLS car is $250,000 for the engine.
Oh, it's
that's 500.
Yeah, 500.
Yeah, you also have Williams and ceramic and things.
Yeah, all kinds of fun things.
It says Williams on it.
Yeah, it says Williams on it.
Rules.
And they make it at
that's
Williams.
$50,000.
Yeah.
We're going to start there to put Williams on at 50, and then
I
we'll
saw
go
that
the motor.
car in person. It was rad.
Yeah, it
Did
looks
not
sick.
get to have a go yet, but it looks cool as fuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a winner. What are your other loud cars you're driving?
I got a Hellcat Red Eye.
Yeah, that's loud.
With the rear seat delete.
That's loud, but that's police. That's police proof. You're good there.
And it's
I'm
red,
good there.
right?
and it's red, which doesn't help the whole situation. And then I've got a bright white, which is horrible on camera, new Aston Martin Vantage.
Oh yeah, white doesn't probably suit that car so well.
It does not. It's the paint's pretty, but
you know what it needs to
suit
be?
the
It's
car.
like that. It has to be that nuclear fucking waste green is actually the best color on that car.
That's
It's
what
a
I was.
good one.
That's what I was expecting. That was I was supposed to be booked for. But
I think all those cars were. That was the first round. I think they're all they were cycled out.
I'm on round 2 for sure.
The white. Oh yeah, that's I mean, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as the blue. The blue I had was not
you
good.
can still get some shape on that.
White's
Polarized.
okay.
But no, that's
That polarized lens, like Jalopnik said.
Sunset.
Yeah,
shades.
yeah.
Oh, the
Exactly.
front. Yeah,
Yeah.
your noon shot there isn't.
No, that was when I quit. I'm like, I'm done shooting right now. I went
Is there a
shopping
white
instead.
that? Is there a
You
white
tried the
that looks good,
Wienermobile?
though?
Nice.
No, I went. I met up with a buddy of mine, and the Wienermobile was in the parking lot.
Sick.
Just chilling by
Just
itself.
chilling by
Did you not
itself.
sit around to get a Wienermobile tour?
No, I had things to do.
What? Who has more important things to do than see the inside of the fucking
And wait for
Wienermobile?
like a
Canadians in
weenie
California
whistle,
do.
dude.
Yeah.
They give you a weenie whistle after you do the tour.
Really?
Yeah.
Now I'm bummed.
Yeah.
Is it shaped?
Wait, Zeke, have
like
you been
a-
in the Wienermobile?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Long
By all means.
Did you,
time
like,
ago.
in
It's
motion?
rad. I
Is
mean,
it
it's-
95 dB, 3,000 RPM?
I think the exhaust goes up into the air out the back of the hot dog. So
Now wait, that reminds me, is the test the same if you have stacks going vertical, or do
Here's
they
the
have a
thing.
27-foot long pole?
They have the test regulated for straight pipe, down pipe, and like one slash pipe or something like that. So there are rules within the or outlines in the tests that say where the
So if you have a 918 and your exhaust aims
If your exhaust
up,
goes up out the roof.
I'm anxious to see how the the
Bosuzoku?
670 LTs or the 570
the
LTs,
600
600s, the McLarens and things like that. I had my buddy Alex Alexiev, who's a designer over there, jump onto one of our live broadcasts on Instagram, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're always compliant." And I was like, "Give me that Senna. I want to test that shit out."
That exhaust is like 8 inches long.
Oh, they're crazy.
It's just
cool.
it's a
They're
pipe
so
this
cool.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah. They shoot a lot of fire apparently.
McLaren can do an exhaust right. I just want to
They can. I had a non-sport
the
exhaust press car
finishers,
once that
the
was a
way
little
they
quiet.
end it is probably one of the better in the industry that I've seen. The
Not-
way
the
it
918
like the
was one of my
way
favorites.
the pipes are shaped, the way it's all flush, the fitment, the gaps. Like I don't know, there's something just really pretty about the way they execute that stuff.
Aren't they sort of little pipes inside of a bumper panel most of the time? They
No.
don't connect,
Depends on the
do
car.
they? Do
No,
they
they have the
connect?
titanium like shaped exhaust.
I'm trying to remember.
I thought there was a pipe inside of a pipe kind of thing.
there's a lot of
happening.
that, which is
there's
always
a lot of
weird.
that.
When you look
Everywhere.
too close and you have light, you're like, wait a minute.
So the NSX I'm driving right now has one big arse hole with 4 pipes
Yeah.
inside of it.
It's like you could have
Yeah.
just done the 4 pipes and it looks
They
great.
could have done the.
Yeah.
Did they in the 17s have 4 pipes?
No, it was
I
the same.
can't remember.
It did,
It was
right?
the same little hole. with
Maybe
a-
the 4
I work-
pipes is
so,
a Corvette trademark.
Full disclosure, I work for an ad agency that actually manages the Acura account.
That's fine.
So
Car's dope.
That car's awesome. That's that new thermal orange. It's so rad.
Thermal orange,
Thermal
aka
orange.
sun-kissed.
Yeah.
If it was a Porsche, it'd be called sun-kissed.
Sun-kissed,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's
They did a great job on
really
it.
orange.
Yeah, it's really nice.
They did. The car is fucking glorious.
Yep.
That car is so fast.
Underestimated.
So fast.
in the
Yeah.
industry.
Heavily underrated.
Very
Heavily.
Easy to drive.
Mhm.
Look, that
Very
new
easy to
Corvette that's
drive.
coming out, you know for sure that they're benchmarking against that car.
I feel like the new Corvette's going to look like that car too.
might. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they kind
A lot of angles. in
So I don't have
Corvettes.
better pictures on my Instagram. I just have the 2. Go scroll to the right within that post because look at this. I had to pick my dad up at the airport. Poor guy.
Nice work.
I could have sworn I told him to pack light, and that's his carry-on. You can't fit a carry-on in the trunk of the McLaren. So the NSX. So he had to fucking come home with it on his lap.
Lovely.
Remember when you and
Welcome
Bam,
home,
you and
Dad.
Bam flew to New York and you had a Mini Cooper
I
coupe?
made Bam do
And
that.
that's a
in
longer
Mini.
drive.
Yeah, from JFK to Greenwich, not just from LAX.
good
to
job,
Venice,
buddy.
yeah. But
Love you.
that car, the NSX, is more people should buy them.
Yep.
They're delightful.
Hey, man. 170 were sold last year.
Yes.
Oh, wow. 170.
Yeah, it was like Road and Track saying the great cars that people
That
didn't
no one
buy
bought.
last year, and 170 were sold last year.
That's
and
not very many.
they're amazing.
No.
They're so good.
And they're
So good.
discounted significantly, I believe, because of 170
Yeah.
sold. I mean,
Well, the new one, they retweaked the suspension and they made a bunch of things that were optional now standard. Ceramic brakes,
Yeah.
better stereo,
Well, all the carbon fiber gets glossy.
carbon. I have to admit, I like the dry carbon fiber.
Did you?
But I think,
Yeah.
I think the
That looked good.
the paint, the carbon fiber. I don't care if it's dry or glossy, but the removal of the beak.
Well, the honeycomb also went glossy.
Oh yeah, the
So
grills.
it's more premium-ish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as opposed to just, hey, plastic.
It's a really
So-
nice car.
Yeah.
It's a lot
I love
of
it.
and it's fucking so fast. I'll tell you what though,
Wicked.
small fuel tank.
Oh, no
Yeah.
kidding.
I think it's
What,
only
wide open or just general?
Just in general, it's not that the fuel economy was that horrible, although it was medium horrible, but it went through gas quick.
Yeah.
And I would fill it up and I'd be like, oh, it was almost on E and it only took 12 gallons or something. It's a small
Interesting.
tank. Yeah.
Wow.
I think maybe batteries take up otherwise fuel tank room or something.
Yeah,
but-
it's always the compromise. I mean, you got 3 electric motors in that thing, so.
What was nice is I was able to like creep away from my
Yep.
house at 5 a.m. without like waking the neighbors up. Like,
And
on
maybe we just need to put
That was
electric
nice.
systems on all these loud cars and just creep.
I
Cool.
don't mind this that having I used the
works.
creep mode this
Yeah.
time more than I did last.
Don't
last
the
time
Mustangs
I was-
have that too? Like a quiet mode or something? Like some of the Mustangs have that.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, I heard
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah.
a quiet creep mode on
Yeah.
the GTs or the GT350s or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, like
where they'll turn
neighbor
down.
mode,
Blip, blip,
whatever.
blip, blip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although God, my
Sounds like a fish
my
getting
driveway faces an apartment building, and so I feel bad for an entire wall of people every time I fucking start a car.
Oh, so my daughter, whose name is Senna, which is
It's a good name.
Yeah. So I've trained her to A, say Porsche, and B, my neighbor has a Bronco with an old 351 in it. And And he starts it up, and now every time he starts it up, she's like, Bronco. I'm like, yeah.
She's gonna want one.
I was like,
you better buy her one before they get any more expensive.
Oh, my fiance wants one really bad, so I'm going to have to sell my MG in 3 more projects in order to get that.
It was just on the Haggerty bull market list.
Yeah.
Get your magazine.
Oh, yeah. I haven't read that one yet.
Remember that one?
No, I haven't read that yet.
They sent me the magazine. It's like a bunch of the cars that are going to be big money soon. It's like the first gen MR2 was in there.
Yep.
The Bronco, the second gen Bronco is now. It's time finally.
Eddie Bauer.
There was a wood-sided fucking Caprice wagon in that bitch.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There's a bunch of really quality items.
There's a Caprice wagon for sale on Bring a Trailer I sent to Musto because it was for sale for the same price he sold his for. It's like $4,200.
Yeah.
And it was white, same thing. They're not
gotta
good.
love the Caprice.
See, I like Haggerty. They insure my car, but they also, with all this new content generation they're ruining the secrets that we know. Like, you're screwing it up for the rest of us. Like,
they're taking all the good talent too.
Well, the California market increase really screws it up, and then by the time Arizona finds out, Colorado finds out, and all these like dry places find out, the prices go up. We're like,
you just got to buy it when you know, and then Haggerty is your marketing arm.
Yeah. Be a bull.
They just sent me the price guide too, which I'm excited to have.
Nice.
Yeah, picking Barrett Jackson this weekend.
My MGs, I'm waiting.
Does it work properly?
Not yet, man. I need to finish the freaking wiring on that thing.
Oh, that sounds great fun.
Oh, well, I got a painless system, and I ripped out the old crap. So
was that Lucas?
What? Yeah, it was Lucas.
Right?
But somebody at some point in its history went through a whole thing with it, and there were wires going nowhere, 15 wires to a horn.
Fun.
It needed to go. It worked. But it needed to go. It was just a ticking time bomb.
Non-scientific method.
But that was fun. We showed it at SEMA. In the Toyo Tread Pass. Yeah, we earned a spot of this.
Is it a stanced out MG?
No, I worked really, really closely with Moss Motors and 1552 and Toyo to come up with the setup. And it's not crazy. Literally all in that car was maybe $15,000.
Yeah.
That's including the price of the car and the rebuild of the motor. All in for that car.
I'll take it.
And it was awesome. We had so much fun building it. I did it in the car hole of my apartment complex.
Wow.
My neighbors were really, really nice. I got them all nice dosist weed packages for Christmas.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
very smart.
Thank you. Be my fucking neighbor.
Yeah, I was like, thank you for letting me bash on my car.
I'll let
night.
you wrench on your car at fucking 5 a.m. if you wanna.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere for SEMA. I think you're a little too far south. Oh, you gotta go to Auto Conduct, not my personal
1552.
Those are all the sketches I do for my daughter.
Those are cool.
on her chalkboard.
Speaking of 1552, the poster's coming. A lot of people have asked about the poster.
Yeah.
I did a thing with Larry Chan in 1552. The pictures they came on the show and showed they're so sick. It's just going to be the coolest thing ever.
Nice.
But Matt Crook is dragging his feet. My Countach.
Oh, your Countach.
Yeah,
nice.
Up at the top of the snake.
There we go.
Is that it right there?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah, so we took it all down to the metal. We
works.
saved 95% of the original bodywork.
Nice.
Yeah, and the guys at CMS Motorsports
the front
just
air dam thing
banged
happening.
it out. They did such a good job, CMS Motorsports.
Oh, so you sanded it to bare metal and then sprayed clear over it?
Yep.
That's
a great move.
Here's the thing, though. We live
idea.
close to the beach, and we couldn't quite get all the moisture out of the gun.
Oh,
so
no.
it's going to naturally rust in some areas, but I'm not against it. I'm like, it's like surface. I think it'll be fine.
Have you seen that rust paint people are using?
Yeah, it's
You
crap.
can paint your shit
Yeah.
and it
For
makes the
real.
car
Of course
rust
you
for
can.
real.
Well, here's the thing. It's the first time I ever drove a car. One, I did a car on my own for SEMA.
There's a before after in the middle there, Tim.
Yeah, so that's 3 years ago, and that's where it's at now.
I like it. Is your rear fender just a different color, or is that made of something different?
Unfortunately, the rear fenders were pretty bashed at some point, and to replace the entire wing, each wing was $1,000 to replace, and we just didn't have the time, so we hammered it as close to flush as we could, skinned it, and then did a livery back there. And so the tagline for Auto Conduct's drive all things, and so we decided to put that back there. We worked with Vaderworks, and they did all the livery based on one photo I sent him. He did all the measurements correctly and banged it out. It was amazing.
It looks good.
Yeah.
But I've never driven it. I've never shown a car by myself in SEMA. I've always done it with manufacturers or somebody else. I've never driven a car on a trailer. I've never towed a car.
Oh, really?
Ever in my life.
For real.
For real. So they're like, so Toyo Tires hits me up dude, you're in the tread pass. I'm like, fuck. I guess I got some days to figure this out.
Yeah.
So
it's not so hard. Trailering's okay.
Trailering was okay. We got the Atlas and it was super chill.
Did the car not not being addicted? Did the car not run, and that's why you didn't drive it to SEMA, or you just didn't want to because MG?
It's 90 horsepower.
Yeah.
And those hills would have killed it.
Yeah.
It has an overdrive feature, which is fine, and I would have been able. It would turn into an 8-hour day.
Is it the button? Is the overdrive button?
No, I have it on the column, but I'm going to switch it to a button since we're rewiring everything. But yeah, so we got it there, and it was awesome. Like, it was really, really cool. But we needed to trailer it there. Like I said, we're finishing the wiring. We're finishing plumbing the fuel lines. But yeah, it'll be up and running here soon. We're going to be at the Classic Auto Show in Orange County with it.
Where's that? When?
Let's see, middle of March.
Oh.
Yeah, down at OC Fair.
All right.
Yeah, so we'll be showcasing down there.
Cool. Check that out. We got a bunch of questions from people. Let's do those for a few before we wrap this shit up. This is a good one. Tim, can you zoom in on it? Cannot read. Someone whose screen name Divine the Awesome says, Matt, I'm looking to import a classic Mini. Any advice? You guys imported shit?
No.
Zeke?
I don't know much about importing cars, but classics tend to fall in a little bit of a gray area. I know top rank importers are really good guys for knowing the laws. They do a lot of Japan stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about the Minis, but British classic sports cars or British sports cars up in San Luis Obispo. The guys who sold me my MG, they probably could help you out.
Great.
They know
That's
all
a
that
good
stuff.
one. I would say look out for rust, and if you can, buy one that's already been imported and try and look at it yourself.
Oh, isn't Andrew making one from scratch?
Making one?
Andrew, making one. Restoring one. From Stanceworks?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, Ritter. I think he's got a Mini that he's been tooling around with for a while.
I like his taste very much.
This one's clean.
Yeah.
It's so good. I'm jealous.
I think rust and wiring are the things to look out there.
Yeah. Oh, wait, he's at 1552 now. Andrew.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Toon Squad? No. That answer is just for you. It was a yes/no question, and the answer is no. Also,
easy.
He also, that same guy hates modern Rolex sport watches because Carl Ruiz ruined them.
Oh, I didn't even show you mine.
That shit is dope, son. Wow. As a gold Casio.
Repro.
I have the gold G-Shock, so I'm in the same club.
Oh,
as
dude,
you.
I love it.
It's the best watch ever.
It's my daily. Hey, girls, bash on this watch. The babies can eat it.
Oh, baby-proof watch. Yeah, that's
man.
True. And yes, I will get Carl on this show very soon. Question Bear says, would you pay over $10,000 for a non-SRT6 Chrysler Crossfire as... What is there a meme I missed?
No, I'm laughing at the question. I'm straight up.
I
and
think
down.
you're laughing at the question?
You should answer this like you answered the previous one. No.
Yeah, exactly. Would you pay over $10,000 for a non-SRT Chrysler Crossfire, I shit you not, as an investment vehicle? Fuck no.
What?
Not unless it's like a trunk full of cocaine or something.
And even then, that's a depreciating investment.
God, that's so good.
No, that's a terrible idea.
That's the
don't
new
do that,
Fiero.
man.
That's our modern Fiero.
Fuck,
That's
Fieros
what that
are
is.
going up, bro.
Yeah, they are.
One day they.
Fieros are better than Crossfires.
No, Crossfires are not. They're not good.
You know what
Don't
they
do
use a
it.
Crossfire for? Hoonigan took one to Irwindale and strapped 3 parachutes to it and tried to drive it like around the track. Like everything was haggard and sounded terrible. Like that should give you an indication of what they're worth as far as investment vehicles.
Yeah, they're not good, and they're not going up.
No.
Yeah, I don't want to be the 50-year-old guy that comes back and says we should have said buy a Crossfire.
You guys, you guys, we should have brought like 6 Crossfires.
We missed out.
We really missed out.
If you own the
the
concept,
Crossfire market.
Yeah, the concept.
Thank you for the joke. Mateo says, my dream car is a Bentley Mulsanne. Good choice. What is the closest I can get to that for 30 G's?
740 IL?
I think a fucking Arnage.
Old
I think you can get
740?
Arnages.
Can you get
there.
Arnages that cheap?
Oh,
Wait.
fuck yeah, you
No,
can.
you
You
can.
can get Arnages in the 20s.
No
do you need the car
Yes,
to work?
you can.
Does the car need to be
Dude,
running?
they go through the auctions. I was at Meekum, and two of them went through in the low 20s, and that was 4 years ago.
That's
Service
the answer
records
right there.
included?
I don't know. But that's the closest you can get to that for less than 30. What else can you get for under 30? The closest to a Mulsanne?
I'm going to say something very... You guys are going to make fun of me. You get an Equus.
I actually, that was my next thought.
Yeah. That's not a bad
And
one.
it'll work.
It'll work.
Yeah, it will work.
You can get an Arnage for 28, but you better have 28 on the side.
You need 50 all in.
I would love the Daily and Arnage. They rule.
Yeah, they look rad.
They look rad. That's the closest for sure. But Equus, if you want a, really boring car.
Debadge it. No one's gonna know what it is.
Bentley shit on there, man.
You could get a really nice Phaeton. You could probably get a fucking flying
well,
spur in
dude,
the 30s.
Yeah.
Flying spurs are so
Could you get a really
cheap right
beat
now.
high
Early
mileage?
first gen.
Yeah. In the 30s, you think?
Oh yeah,
Not
easy.
that cheap.
No.
In the 30s?
Yeah, I've seen him. I've been.
If you can actually
I've been
get a
eyeballing
Bentley,
him.
a
I've been
flying
eyeballing
spur,
him.
yeah.
Haggerty, stay off, man.
Phaetons were like 12 in like 2012 when Baruth had one.
Yeah,
That's
now,
how
they're,
cheap.
now they're on the way up.
Maybe, or they're just boat anchor. I don't know.
No,
but
now they're like ironic
Really?
cool. They went down and they're passing through ironic cool on their way back to cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm just bullshitting.
I mean, but they probably drive really nice. You
ever see one with Bentley wheels and a Bentley grill on it?
I've seen that. Yeah,
It's pretty close.
It is.
It's closer than I'm really
It's
comfortable
closer
with.
than Bentley's comfortable with.
What's that Cat Williams joke about the Rolls Royce? The guy's
It
buying a
looked
300.
like a Phantom.
It's like
till the Phantom
rolls
pull
up. I don't even want to be here.
Fucking love that joke. Yeah, okay. Austin says, I'm stuck between a 2013 and 2014 versus a 2015 and 2017 Mustang GT. I love the looks of the older car, but I'm worried I'll miss the new IRS on track. Should I just get over the looks?
If I don't miss the IRS, then then who is this? Austin.
yeah.
Austin's not going to miss it. Just buy the car and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Wait, you mean the
It's
older
yours.
one?
Have fun with it.
Yeah,
There's so many parts for it. Just don't touch the exhaust.
I really don't care about the independent rear suspension on the newer car.
I think it makes a big difference on bumpy roads, but he's
but on
talking
the track?
about racetracks.
On
I
the
don't
track,
think it makes
does
that much
not
of a
matter.
difference on track.
Nope.
Look, there's so many parts out there that they just dial that crap out.
Panhard bar, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Musto ran a 2011 as his track car for like 3 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the IRS is going to be the thing that does it, but you do get more power, and you do get, I think, better steering probably.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the budget difference is. What do you think the budget difference is for 13-14 to a 15-17? Maybe 4 or 5 grand?
I don't know. I mean, you could
Depends on the condition.
Spend the money on you can spend the money on power parts if you're missing out on power. And if you like the looks enough, then I would go with the one you like the looks of. Based on
you just can't get away from the looks, right? But
you can't really change the looks that much.
No,
you should
but you
go.
you can resolve the suspension, all the handling issues you can fix. I mean, there's the aftermarket's deep there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get a plan together and figure out which way you want to go.
Yeah. Thank you, Austin. Romero says, what do you guys think about McLaren Senna's lighting on fire? That dude's Salamandrin, I guess. I watched like 10 seconds of the Instagram video.
Yeah, that's sent to me too.
Apparently, this dude Salamandrin is like a rich guy YouTuber who I've heard of, obviously, but like I've never seen a single one of his videos. But I guess his Senna caught fire.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not good.
Not good.
Was it Ferrari F430s
And I
doing
guess,
that back in the day?
I guess it made him bitch out and want to sell all his cars or something, or he's just being dramatic. He's all like,
I think the biggest issue he
YouTube
had
drama.
is like the photo leaked from a first responder or something like that was surrounding it.
Are first responders not allowed to take pictures of cars on fire? I think they
or
are.
post them to internet.
Why not?
I think they can, but I think it
Shit's
was just
burning
more
a public
of like,
fucking road, son.
That's
Unless
right.
it was on private property.
Yeah.
But, dude, as long as there have been extreme sports cars, there have been extreme sports cars that catch on fire.
That's right.
These two things go hand in hand.
Was it the 458 that had like a glue problem that was
glue,
catching
yeah.
on fire?
Yeah,
It was,
early
like, a lot
I
of
picked the
things.
wrong day to quit sniffing glue. So I was a little late on
all
it.
the
but-
Lamborghinis that were catching on fire. Because I mean, it's nothing new, like you said.
Yeah, mid-engine cars in hot
Gonna
climates
happen.
will catch fire.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll figure out what happened.
Ease off
I'm
the
sure
launch
he's
control.
I'm sure he's insured.
Yeah.
No one got hurt. Dante Zero says, I found 996 Porsches for not much more than low mileage Fiesta STs. Which would you rather daily? Let me explain something to you, my friend. If you are shopping for a Fiesta ST, you cannot afford a Porsche.
Yeah.
Those two search engines don't work together.
I'm
Absolutely.
serious.
It's
Listen,
true.
I bought a Porsche, and not long after I bought a Porsche, it was not an expensive Porsche. It was less money than a loaded up Camry, and not long after I bought it, I needed a $15,000 engine rebuild. It's even more in a 996.
And that happened to a friend of ours as well.
A friend of ours bought a 996 and instantly needed
The
a new
first
engine.
trip needed a new
For
engine.
real.
John Benson told
Yeah.
me there is no such thing as a cheap Porsche.
No.
That's true.
Doesn't matter
No.
what model
Yeah.
year it is.
Yep.
There's no such thing.
No.
Busy Ezrioha buys Boxsters for $5,000.
Yeah.
Because it would cost fucking $25 to fix them to where they would need to be.
You have to completely tear them down in order to get to the motor anyway. So.
Yeah.
So you get a Fiesta ST, you'll like it.
Yeah. A cheap 996 would be a fun project car, but honestly, the performance, it's not as special as an air-cooled.
Yeah.
The performance doesn't really justify the maintenance cost.
Unless you get a turbo, and then you're way above Fiesta ST money.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, Jason. Jason says, exhaust question. What about people with loud exhausts who are registered out of state? Would you be subject to a standard noise violation, or would you be completely exempt?
We are actually waiting to hear back from this. And Jason, you were on my live broadcast the other day with the same question. Sorry we didn't get to address it. But we're waiting to hear back from CHP on how it applies to vehicles registered outside the state. So far, we've heard that they're getting warnings.
Yeah.
Obviously, because the paperwork's a little bit different. And we'll find out. We'll have to report back.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly.
if you have a car registered out of state, you need to comply with the state your car is registered. Yeah.
It's not a national thing, by the way. Like, other states have different rules. There are rules in other states that are so vague that they can write you a ticket based on their belief, and you can't fight it. There is no referee. There is no verifiable anything in some
And there's
states.
Florida where there are no laws for vehicles. And you can just import right-hand drive, whatever
you
the fuck.
can register anything. One of my pals, I'm not naming names, had, when it was like completely illegal to do so otherwise, had one of the Canadian spec E36 Euro M3s.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hear that's a good engine.
That is a beautiful car. Yeah.
Christopher says, speaking of M3s, is an E92 M3 with 27,000 miles for $35,000 a good buy?
Well, I would say if the condition is very good, then yes, because Armin's wife bought a super clean, like carbon top, gray, incredibly well maintained car with low miles like that for similar money.
Okay,
and that's kind of what they go for, but. Is it maintained well? Does it have all the records? How many owners?
Hunt for the E90 four-doors. Mm-hmm. The manuals, those were always taken care of. I've yet to find one that's been heavily neglected. And typically the people that own them know what they're doing.
A little more responsible than the two-door owners?
A little bit, yeah. Less mods, more OE. So
yeah, it depends on the car, but in theory, Christopher, that sounds like a good buy. Mm-hmm. But it depends on the car. Get a PPI, my friend.
Oh yeah.
Austin. Oh, the Mustang dude is back. Yeah, okay. He followed up, but it doesn't change our answers. MB is Frenchy says, "Oh, my friend was right about the Panamera Turbo wagon sales. You know how we love those Panamera Turbo Sport Turismos? Mm-hmm. They fucking rule. Mm-hmm. My friend is a dealer, and they cannot sell them for anything.
They're so damn expensive. Huh? They're so expensive.
They are very expensive.
Nobody wants a wagon.
But they're selling the normal roofs.
So
they're not selling Panameras. They're not selling the wagons.
Yeah. I've seen one chalk e-hybrid running around up and down the coast.
That's Matt Jacobson.
Is it?
Yeah, it's the CEO of Instagram, Matt Jacobson, and Birdwell Britches. He's been on my show. He's chill. He's got fucking dope whips and dope watches. He's an air-cooled guy. Got a great little square back. MB is French. She said was offered 50 G's on the hood. Damn. And the actual question is, are there any issues running carbon brakes in low temperatures or the snow? We go to our resident Canadian, Brian Makse.
The answer is no.
No.
No, I've got tons of friends that run carbons all year round. No
worries.
Nope.
Good to know.
Yep.
A couple hard stops will heat your fucking carbon ceramics
you don't
to
even
the
need
point
to heat
where
them.
the ambient isn't even an issue.
No, they're great in the winter.
Was that a problem with older carbon ceramics? They having to heat a couple times before you
never was.
break?
I drove early carbon ceramics on Porsches in the winter and no issues. Never any issues.
Okay.
Even in the cold, even with like piles of snow on the road.
Wow.
The nasty slush.
They do a lot of all-weather testing in those cars.
Yeah,
Porsche
really
does
They figured it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't worry about it.
I wonder if it's all right.
Stitch 666 says, I heard you like simulators.
Simulators.
Have we ever tried Beam NG with a wheel? No. Anyone ever heard of Beam NG?
No idea.
All right, don't know what that is. Physics are based on how. That's a different type of sim. All right, we'll look into that. Thank you, sir. Rohan says, what is the most fun car you've ever driven between $60,000 and $100,000, new or used?
That narrows it down. That's a small list.
It's a small list.
60 to 100, new or used.
Oh boy. I don't know. Do we have time to troll Craigslist right now?
Only left-hand drive? Because then I've only got two answers.
Yeah. I mean, dude, 60 to 100.
Yeah, look at my YouTube channel. I got tons of great examples there.
We're gonna have to ignore maintenance costs and all that kind of stuff. We're going strictly on sale price. I will say the Ferrari F355 GTB with the 6-speed manual.
There you go.
All right.
75 grand, 80 grand.
Yeah,
there's a sweet spot for you.
Yep.
I think that's. Anyone else? Want to throw a log on the fire?
I do like the new M2s.
M2s are lovely.
M2's very fun.
M2s are lovely.
And the
new
Canadian
M2s.
disagrees. I can't stand the M2.
Why?
It's too hard. It's too boy racer.
It is a bit bumpy.
I think
but it's
M240 is a much better car.
Oh,
Yep.
no.
I disagree.
No.
I think it's
you
too
are
soft.
denied, sir.
I mean, it's not like the M2 doesn't have a lot of steering feel, but the 240 is like the 240 is a daily 3 Series. Like I'll go with that. It's a comfortable GT kind of cruiser, but it's not fun or engaging for me.
Yeah, I've had the M2 on the racetrack. The throttle mapping's all wrong. It's a disaster. It's just a disaster. So I strongly disagree.
I haven't driven on a racetrack.
Okay,
I have.
So
Not the competition. I do the regular one on the racetrack. I thought it was nice. I had a good time driving that thing.
Well, it's always fun in someone else's car, but I would not want to own one.
No, I've had not fun in other people's cars too.
Yeah,
I've had bad times on racetracks in people's cars.
What did you not like about the mapping? Like too much power down low, or
Yeah, I mean, when you've got the car, like you've got the car balanced, and you need to start adding some throttle as you're exiting the corner. It just ramps boost, and you're instantly adding like 50 pounds of torque, like boom, and then of course the car understeers, and it's no fun anymore.
Yeah,
and that's not what BMW should be.
Right. That's how the M4 was, which I hated. The power
Are you putting throttle on rotation or after the rotation?
Not no rotation.
No rotation.
You're
just straight out of the apex.
On limit, you're
just
easing into the throttle, and it ramps boost. Torque goes way up.
If you want to oversteer that car, you have to do it on brakes. You have to stand it on the nose. Do it on brakes. It's happy there. All right, so an M2, not an M2. Okay. Lotus Evora 400, I'll throw that in there as well.
That's your default answer these days.
They fucking rule. Have you driven one?
No.
They rule.
Okay.
They
were cool when they first came
fun.
out.
Yeah, they're really fun.
Rad.
You got it. Your next
I
LA
got to
trip.
drive one.
Yeah. Pure Hard Styles says opinions on a manual Chevy SS wagon. Oh, the Holden HSV Club Sport Tourer. Probably great.
Damn.
The SS manual ruled. Make it a wagon.
Can't imagine it being terrible.
Sure. How would it be terrible? Sounds great. And are we ever going to do a VinWiki story? Yeah, I talked to Ed Bullion. He's got to come out here. Where does he live? Atlanta? He's in Atlanta, right?
I think he's somewhere on the East Coast.
I think he's in Atlanta. I'm going to Atlanta in a bit. I'll call Ed Bullion back. 30 something says, what do you think of the Vipers? Do you think the Viper will make a comeback? In what form? And huge fan. Will the Viper come back?
Yes.
Yeah?
No one plays the nostalgia game like Dodge. Remember the Scat Pack? I mean, I think the name will come back. What form will it come back in? Probably Twin Turbo V8 or Twin Turbo V6. Like, it'll be a while, but I'm sure they will bring the name back.
I'd love it to come back. I've been playing with Vipers for a long time. I love the car. And I love the car because it's not accessible to a lot of people. Like it takes a little bit of courage to drive that thing fast. And I'd love to see it come back. I think that the last one, especially the ACRs, were awesome.
Yeah, they were rowdy.
Yeah,
I didn't like the ACR that much. It was such a race car, but it was just like it was a little too much.
I respect the shit out of it. I didn't like it for a lot of reasons, but it was impressive, and then it would go out and win some stuff. And all right, that's good.
Yeah, there are a lot of compromises with that car. That's for sure.
I feel like that's a T-shirt. Viper. I respect the shit out of it.
Respect, don't want.
But are those windows made of plastic? What is that? What is that smell? Is that fuel or?
I was like the ACR is far above my driving ability, but for me, with my height, getting into it was like my legs have to go like around the cowl and get in, and then the
I used
ceiling
to burn
is
the
low.
shit out of my ankles on that thing in the summer.
Yep.
A lot of ergonomic challenges.
I like a car that could really set your pants on fire, literally. When you get out of this,
I had a scar for 10 years on my leg from the Kit Cobra.
From the Cobra?
Yep.
Yeah, I had one on my leg too from a Cobra.
Yeah, the only car you can't wear linen in.
Cobras are fucking. They
Shouldn't wear
just want
linen
you
in Cobra
dead.
anyway.
I'm just saying, those
It's driving
Miami
like
crowd.
a van. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't know. I think the Viper has to come back eventually. When they're flush again, Jeep will carry
What are they
it.
going to do? Think of a new name? No.
They own the trademark already. My father's opinion of the NSX. He did not. My dad's not that into sports cars. He didn't drive it. He didn't really fit in it so well. He really played along as if he was enjoying it, but I don't think he was. He's just too big and it was too low and uncomfortable. My dad likes fast SUVs now. He's like 6'5". He's 65 years old. His back's fucked up from years of travel. He likes a fast SUV. He doesn't appreciate the mid-engine supercars like I do. BMV 36 says, thoughts on the new Supra. Do you anyone have any? Has anyone seen one in person yet?
No. Well, they had all those photos that leaked out. I mean,
I've seen every picture of it
as
possible.
As far as the
hype
point. Machine's concerned, get over yourselves and just show the damn car.
Did you go to the launch?
So
no.
They did a launch with the BMW where they.
Did
you go to that?
No, I didn't go to that.
The Z4 launch or whatever. I did not. But apparently they let people drive some. I was hoping it was going to be
I've seen Supra test cars running around, and I think the shape looks good.
It's a lot smaller than I thought.
It's much smaller.
Way smaller.
I think the internet will probably complain and go, "It's not a 2JZ. Is it reliable? Da blah blah. Who cares? We should just try drive it,
appreciate it for what it is.
Right, drive it, appreciate it for what it is. And if it's a BMW turbo engine, we probably know how it will feel. Brian won't like it.
Yeah. Do we have any John Sybil renderings yet? Just to kind of see what kind of fender flares we can expect to see on these things.
Oh my God!
You know they're gonna get crazy with these.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited to see it. I like any sports coupe that's new. I like, but I'm fucking out with it already. Jesus Christ!
Right? I'm so over it.
It's gonna be DOA by the time they done.
Did you see the Christmas packages they sent to journalists? The cookies that said Supra. Like,
no, I didn't
what
get.
the hell?
I didn't get a Christmas package.
They're just
bullshit.
propping it up. It's keeping that baseball in the air. Keep that baseball in the air.
What else can we do? Cookies. We're gonna do cookies.
Yeah. How do we keep this seventh inning stretch interesting?
Yeah.
Blip Shift sent us H-pattern chocolates.
They did.
Those were cool. They were
right.
chocolates molded into H patterns, and that
nice.
was pretty
That's
rad.
smart. Way to go, Blip Shift.
Oh, and then the follow-up was R32 GTR or old Supra GTR.
GTR.
Yeah.
Especially the R32.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 wins. Zach doesn't even have to vote.
I agree with you.
4 to 4. Bruce Wayne says, after fucking with the Safari 911, what else needs a Safari treatment? What other non-911 items should become off-road ready?
I think
we ask this every show.
We do. Yeah. Camisa's E30 wagon. That'd be great.
Oh, an E30 XI.
XI wagon.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
It's almost all the way there.
Do people appreciate those yet? Do they cost money yet?
Which ones?
No,
E30 XI wagon?
I think you can still import them for much cheaper than you should be able to.
It's still in the gray area. Like, they're not quite super hot because a lot of shops don't really have the parts for them.
America also
they're
doesn't
not
like wagons.
quite off the radar if you can't find a good one. You know what I mean?
I would daily an E30.
I tried.
I
tried. I couldn't afford the maintenance on 2 project cars.
Really?
I had an E30 for like 3 months, and bearings were going, and I was like, I can do it. I got 2 kids. I can't do it. So I had to let it go. It was so clean, though. I loved it.
I feel like if you find the right one, you could totally do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to throw you guys for a loop, just real brief.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about importing an A2 Audi.
What year?
Whatever it is, because we can do 15 years in Canada. So looking at a 15, 16-year-old car.
That's it. I'm moving to Canada.
Yeah.
What year?
I like Montreal.
So can I see a picture of a 2003 Audi
Montreal's
A2?
great. Way more interesting.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I can picture the A2. Oh yeah.
The little
so they did.
Those are the space
Avis.
frames.
Yeah. They're all aluminum.
Design language.
They're all aluminum.
Love those.
And the later cars come with an S-line package and a turbo motor.
Yeah.
And
Is
they're not too
it's
bad.
not a 1.8, is it?
No, it's 1.4 turbo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Volkswagen's doing now. They brought it back. It's a retro motor.
A little over 100 horsepower. And,
oh my God.
Yeah.
So good.
Did you get a gas or a diesel?
It's a shape.
Gas for sure.
Oh, look at that
gas
rear
for sure.
trunk. It's got that old
it's
GMC
that's it.
little see-through.
I see some Aztec in there.
Yeah, there's a little Aztec in there.
And some Prius.
It's probably got a great personality.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It probably does.
Exactly.
I respect the shit out of it.
I respect it, but man, that's an ugly
Look
car.
at that.
I bet you Canadian chicks will dig this.
I have a wife. I don't care. It does not matter.
Slam it and take it to
With
Eurocracy.
a car like that,
you'll
you're going to care.
Yeah.
That's very funny. Yeah. How much do those go for?
They're cheap. They're like, I'm going to budget maybe 20 all in.
That's more than I would have guessed.
No, it's Canadian.
Okay,
Canadian, which is like
13.
13. Okay.
13.
13,
but
15.
that's like shipping, decent car, some spares.
Why?
I'm a geek for Luke Donkervaca.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair answer.
I've got his autograph on cars.
Yeah. Great designer.
Yeah.
Awesome. What else are we Safari? Anything else? Citroen 2CV.
You wouldn't be able to turn the
ice
wheels,
race
man.
those, man.
You wouldn't
You
move.
just-
Ice race those.
Oh yeah, they do.
yeah.
Speaking of ice racing, I also have to blow your minds. A friend of mine has put an ice racing series together in Ontario, a couple hours north of the city.
Uh-huh.
They're running Lexus ISs exclusively. It's like a Lexus
that'd
Cup.
be cool.
Yeah. So
Lexus IS ice racing.
yes.
Cool.
I like this very much.
Yeah, automatic rear drive.
Studded tires. I
Studded
assume.
tires,
Yeah.
spec tire.
Timmy found it. Oh, that's the new one. No, that's a press photo.
I think they're calling it Lexus Sport Cup or something.
So it's
Sounds
it's wheel
great.
so it's wheel to wheel.
Wheel to wheel
I love
ice
it.
racing.
Oh,
Nice.
God.
Yeah.
You guys
That's
sounds
fantastic.
awesome.
Ice drag racing.
There's the logo on the
I have
right
seen
there
that.
too.
That's fucking
Oh,
cool.
that looks
dude.
sick.
Lexus Sport Cup.
It's got a
Lexus
logo.
Sport Cup Ice Racing Championship.
It's legit when it has a logo.
That's the
Dude,
easiest
yeah.
way to make an ice
So
300
good.
feel fast.
I'm
I would love to
100%
see
about
that.
this.
So good.
What are the
Oh,
years?
video.
You can't play the video for copyright reasons.
January
Yeah, but-
2019 it starts.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, they've got 15
We
cars.
can play
or
the
something.
GIF.
Oh my god.
Sick.
Yeah, and they're available for Arrive and Drive.
How
That
much
was
is
my
a
next
ride and
question.
drive?
Ooh.
$500 a weekend or something Canadian.
Fuck off. 500 Canadian,
yeah.
bro?
Yeah, yeah.
We're all
For real.
going.
Let's ditch the bachelor party and buy out the whole race.
Hell yeah.
We could do that. That'd be amazing.
So good.
Oh, here's
Yes,
the GIF.
I
Look at
raced
this.
one of the cars last winter. It was so much fun.
Amazing.
I am
What's on top?
absolutely
What's
going
on
to do
top?
Oh, you gotta
Yes,
have a
that's
number on the
amazing.
top.
Oh, those are the numbers.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
fins. Oh, it's so rad.
So we're watching. It's a snow oval and it's wheel to wheel.
No, it's a road. It's a
Is
road
it
course.
road course?
Left
Oh,
and,
sorry.
left and right turns.
Oh, they were showing
Yeah.
my left
Right.
turns.
But
Alright.
I mean, in the IS, you're sideways all the
How is-
time.
how
Yeah,
is
I want to
contact
come up and do
viewed?
this. How far?
You don't go fast enough for contact to be an issue, and contact is not an issue. You can hit people, and I
Right.
mean, I had people run into me, and I returned people. So
And
it
you
was
can
fun.
win your money back.
You could win $1,000 whole dollars.
Yeah, I think with a lot of specialized motorsports, there's some tricks to that. To win $1,000, you got to be
I think
ice racing
this is
for
my
like
new
20 years.
favorite motorsport.
This is amazing.
Fucking
So
great.
good.
Good for
Okay.
everyone involved in that.
Yeah, that's my pal Russ. He's awesome.
What city?
love
What's
it.
the nearest city to that? Toronto?
Well, yeah. I mean that little marker is
Yeah.
a 2.5 hour drive from Toronto.
From Toronto. Okay.
yeah, and that's all you got.
All right.
You got to go to
Well,
Toronto.
we can't do it this trip. We're going to Whistler. We're coming to you, not
Oh,
to you.
well,
It's
no,
probably
I'm-
far. It'd probably be closer to Toronto than.
It's the same amount of fly time
It's
to get to
fucking far.
Vancouver as it is to here. Yeah,
yeah.
so-
Well, I'm excited anyway.
yeah. Is it a bachelor party in Whistler?
Yeah, mine.
Awesome. Good for you.
My bachelor
yeah,
party.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
BMV36 says thoughts on driving from the UK to Asia in a Toyota Land Cruiser.
Ooh, cool.
In a
Do
new,
everything
in a
in
new
it.
one?
Yeah.
Toyota
Yeah.
Land Cruiser, yeah.
I'd love
Yeah.
to do that.
Do
It'd be
it.
amazing.
Not one from 1974, but a new one.
Either way,
That'd be fun.
look up Mongol Rally, and that will show you what that route looks like. And then if you imagine doing it in a new or Toyota-made product, it'd be really fun.
Yeah.
They do it in $500
Supra?
cars.
Safari Supra?
Safari Supra.
Yeah. Oh, someone,
go.
It's a good answer.
someone,
You get fender flares, you get
good
wheels,
answer.
you get the whole
someone
torque.
just commented that the Supra just dropped on Jalopnik. Like right now, like today, 5 p.m. on a Thursday. And then Craig Lieberman's son
It is
says,
Detroit,
"What is
though.
up?"
Detroit's going down right
I
now.
like, hey, what's up, Tyler? Your dad is the man. Come drive an event in Arizona. I don't know what that means, but thank you for watching. Did a Supra just drop, Tim?
Working on it.
I don't know. I mean, just dropped, meaning do we have more pictures of the same car we've seen?
Like they're all doing the press stuff for Detroit right now. Everybody's
Oh, are
out there
they?
right now. Yeah, Ford
Yeah.
did theirs yesterday.
For the Explorer,
There
but
we
not
go.
the GT500.
Hey, there
Oh,
it
wow,
is.
really?
It's
Yeah,
here.
Oh, it looks like a Cayman, doesn't it?
The back
Yeah,
quarter
the-
absolutely
yeah,
looks
the
like
three
a can.
quarter
rear
looks like
quarters all
Cayman.
came in.
I wonder how many of those intakes are fake
All
of them.
or blocked.
or blocked.
So the front looks exactly like it's done looked
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I like the shape of.
with that split nose thing. It
Yeah.
looks like a
Why are they backlighting it? All the spy photos are better than these photos. No offense to the photographer,
the
but
middle
come on.
section really does look like a Porsche
'Cause
Cayman.
this looks
with
like a
long,
screen grab from
long
the
nose
video.
on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the fender, the curve of the rear fender, that little intake behind it.
Is that CG
Profile's
or is
cool.
that the actual?
That is
that looks
definitely
CG.
That looks CG as hell, right?
Yeah, that doesn't look real. Is that a real picture?
No.
Hold on,
That looks
I
weird as
can
hell.
decipher. This is literally my daily job.
That's a rendering.
That looks.
Where there's
No,
way
that
too
looks
much
like-
post.
that looks
There's
like
too
a
much
render.
softness up on the fenders. Like
Is this
that-
a
that's
bad
just like
picture
fake, yeah.
or is it a real?
No, that's
No, that's a CG, man. Those are press
That's
assets.
weird. This post is being updated. All right, well, That happened. You guys, that happened.
Oh,
the
my
Supra
God.
was revealed. Oh my God.
And we
kidding.
saw it coming.
What else you got to do while you're in town, Brian?
The cookies work.
I gotta finish the episodes of the Hellcat Red Eye and the Aston.
When you driving the Aston? You already did.
Yeah, it's sitting in Uncle Stan's driveway.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
It's
really
annoying the
stacking them deep.
neighbors. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Where can we read those when they're out? When they're done?
They'll both be on our YouTube channel, which is my name, unfortunately.
YouTube.com/
Brian Makse.
Makse and pull that over, Tim. Makse.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
Are you in the flying Miata in that picture?
I'm in the NDVA.
Yeah, that rules.
So I did a feature for a magazine in Australia. They're like, you have to do a burnout. I'm like, I don't.
I love Australia.
You have to do a burnout. So we did two takes. That was the second take.
Do it for us because we can't.
You're like, I'm going to
burnouts.
Miata. Yeah. They're like, yeah, you can do it.
You're
they didn't
promoting
care.
hooniganism.
Yeah, the Flying Miata guys were like all about it.
Awesome.
These
Oh,
these
there we
are
go.
Keith is the man.
allegedly.
Yeah, Keith is great.
They're great.
Sorry, these super pictures are allegedly screen grabs from a video.
Oh, that's why. Oh. Got it.
So it's here, but not here.
It still looks like a
Yeah,
rendering.
it's there. It's somewhere.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Zeke,
Yo.
plug it again where people can go to make noise.
All right. So you can go to asktheref.org, schedule an appointment with your local referee or demand an appointment or some kind of voluntary program. You can also hit up your local politicians in your districts. I know it sounds lame, but really do it. They do listen. Also, you can find all the information on @autoconduct on Instagram. We do live broadcasts every day at 1 with any new information that we have. And then we upload those videos on YouTube for Autoconduct as well. So,
All right.
And we got our next event coming up at the end of the month, January 25th, Autoconduct pop-up
Oh, yeah?
at Deus.
Oh, at Deus in Venice?
Oh, yeah.
Deus in Venice has like 9 parking spaces.
Yeah, we're curating it. But come and hang out.
I'll take
It'll
my
be cool.
bicycle.
It's
That way I
not
can
going to
get
suck.
in.
There's going to be food. There's going to be some like libations and some other things going on. Like, it'll be a good time.
All
So,
right.
come
All
on in.
right.
Cool.
Thanks for coming in, guys.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I appreciate
you.
it. When is our next live show? I can't even remember right now. It's next week. I got to look. Hang on. Zach will do it. Zach will look
A
while
time
I'm
and place
saying.
in the near future.
While I'm saying the Smoking Tire Podcast is powered by Shout Engine. Get your own damn podcast at shoutengine.com. It's easy. All you need is a microphone, a connection to the internet, and something to say. Our next live show will be
Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. We have Ben Abrams coming in.
Oh yeah, Ben Abrams of
Nice.
E-Garage. He rules.
And then we have Pat Long on Thursday at 5 p.m.
It's
Pacific
not going to
time.
be 5 p.m. for Pat Long. Pat Long will be Thursday sometime in the morning. He just hit me up today.
Okay.
I got to change it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what we got. Tuesday, Thursday next week. Thanks for coming in, kids.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Enjoy your evening all. Good night.